I can swim. Just can't walk or dress myself. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean announcement. Getting deep in with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we got to deal with some cooning and buffooning over here tonight. Yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. This has been a long time coming. And a lot of times, I don't tend to even entertain a lot of the cooning and buffooning on certain content creators' platforms that I see, unless the cooning goes a bridge too far. And if the content creator or creators, because there's several people doing this besides the one that we're going to review here tonight, start claiming to be pro-black or black first. Let's go ahead and get something straight at the onset of tonight's broadcast. Pro-black and black first, okay? Pro meaning for, all right? Should be for your own people, no matter what race you are. That makes sense. And black first, meaning that you put black people first above any other group of people, ethnicity, race, what have you, okay? Now, to be clear, you can actually have people outside of the black community be pro-black. They can be for black people, okay? Few and far in between, but you do have that. However, what you will not find, most often than not, and I have never run across it in my lifetime, is anybody outside of Black America that puts black people first above their own people. That, man, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying I have not run into that, okay? Because in order for you to do that and not be a part of the black community, that means you're going to be forsaken by your people, okay? Especially if you're in the white community. Oh, yeah. They find out you are black first and you putting black people above your own. Oh, yeah, you done. You ostracized. So, I mean, any white person that attempts to do that, yeah, that will be, look, they will be along the lines of John Brown, okay? Who is what I say, if you call yourself want to be a white ally, well, you need to start looking at John Brown and what he did, okay? If you ain't got that kind of spirit, that kind of energy, as far as producing justice for Black America, I don't want to hear no talking no allyship. Y'all know what I say about that allyship stuff, man. Hey, don't tell me. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Any so-called white ally does not need to be up under black people because that hinders you from actually getting anything done. Marching around with signs and all of that. Yeah. Now your people know who you are, and that makes you powerless. A white ally is not seen up under you. They're away from you, feeding you information, pulling strings with connections to see to it that black people get justice away, because they can do more away from us than up under us. Anytime you see these white folks want to be in photo ops all hooked up with black people, they're not serious about doing anything. Nah, stay away from me and go in that courtroom and produce justice when they're trying to railroad one of us. Go in these classrooms and make sure black children are not mistreated. Go in these hospitals and make sure black women actually get the same equal treatment that everybody else gets when they're trying to deliver babies. That's where I need you. That's where my mindset is with that. But I digress. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing some statements made by Oshay Duke Jackson. Oh, yes. And salute to Tanisha Murdoch and the good brother Michael Williams. We're going to have to review some of these statements because, see, look, let me tell y'all something, right? Let's just go ahead and get this out the way at the onset for those of you that don't know. And if you need context on this, you can see the broadcast on my channel where I break down the different sections and the origins of the modern day black manosphere. 3 people are responsible for that. In order would be the guy, Angry Man, the Hispanic guy, the Afro-Latino posing as a black man. He don't like it when you say that, but that's the truth, okay? He came up with the actual term black manosphere. Then, Oshay started kind of coming over there under his wing. They fell out because, people was, I can't remember which one started it, but one of them went in the other's chat room telling other people that they was live and to go watch them or what have you, okay? And then, that led to Oshay kind of being looked at as one of the mainstays in the black manosphere. He kind of took that title and ran with it from Angry Man. Whole bunch of beef was going on between them two. That went on for quite some time. And, then along came Obsidian. Okay, Obsidian Media Network. He's on Rumble now. He got his channel booted off of YouTube for stalking people online or what have you, okay? So, him and Oshay began to work together, Obsidian and Oshay. And, that's the current iteration of the black manosphere that you see now, all right? Now, I give you this context because the thing with Oshay, that is very important. He pretends that he's not a part of the Black Manosphere anymore. Yes, he is. Don't believe that. Let me tell y'all what happens with a lot of those content creators. I've gone into this into detail about this many times before. What happens is, they're waving the Black Manosphere banner loud and proud until one of their members, with all that extreme rhetoric that they refuse to rein in over there, goes offline and does something stupid, which has happened many times to the point of people losing their lives and all kinds of crimes being committed. Then all of a sudden, when the feds or anybody get involved and start investigating things, I'm not a part of the Black Manosphere. I renounce that. I don't have nothing to do with that. Frank James, anybody? And of course, you can't control who watches your content. But the problem is when you sit around in spaces where primarily you direct all your ire and vitriol towards Black America and Black women and period and in general, then you get a couple of nutcases that get drawn over there to your platform. So you have to be responsible with these microphones. Everybody should have a platform. I don't want anybody censored. Everybody should have a say. But if you're going to call yourself online organization or whatever you want to call it, you have to rein certain things in. Now, let's be clear, to be fair. Are all people over there in the Black Manosphere on that nutcase stuff? No, they're not. My good brother LAR Movement is one of the people that have the most level head over there. I support that brother's content. Cool brother, man. Straight up decent guy. You know what I'm saying? He does not be on the bullshit that the rest of them are on. Even if he has certain opinions that would line up with things, I give LAR Movement this. He's a full-grown adult. He don't talk like no little kid. If you go check out that brother's content, he ain't whining about stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's giving you solutions. He's got real life experience on an adult level. The brother's married. Okay, so if you check him out, you will hear a vastly different tone from the rest of those nutcases that are over there. Now, with Oshay in particular, because that's who we're going to be focusing on here tonight, he stepped aside from it, and dished the title about that time when he didn't know the Frank James stuff happened. Don't let him fool you. You know what I'm saying? So now he's like, okay, I'm going to still be a part of it, but I'm going to latch on to this pro-black thing. See, let's go into his ideology. And I have to go ahead and give full disclosure to this because I do know this for a fact. What happened was, if you go back and look at, and you can probably find some of this on YouTube if he still has it up, because he's great about throwing rocks and hiding his hands. That Joker over the years has taken many shots at brothers and sisters in new Black media, particularly Tariq Nasheed, okay, my good brother, Jason Black, all right, Professor Black Truth. He's taking shots at many of people, okay? So now, a lot of times, he'll say something particularly about Tariq. He don't have none of that up, but I know where all that stuff is. He'll say something and then take it down. Like he was notorious for do a live stream, say some crazy shit, cooning the buffoon, then take the stream down and put it on private. Okay? He had this website called the Negro Manosphere that was full of a whole bunch of stuff. Some of that shit could have got him in trouble, but hey, that's a broadcast for a different day. So I'm just letting you know that this dude is basically a weasel. I just got to call it what it is. So y'all probably wonder how he got into the habit of calling himself pro-black. Well, full disclosure, there is a brother that I know, okay, that actually does good work in Philadelphia with children, a brother by the name of George Macon, okay? Y'all probably know I promoted a lot of George Macon stuff. Urban Nerds Worldwide, I fully support that movement and that work. It's definitely needed up there in Philadelphia. It's needed nationwide. But the problem with my good brother George Macon, and I say this with no malice towards him, Brother George, he's Afro-Latino himself, okay? So he's part foundational Black American and part Cuban, okay? Now, Brother George has, some slightly different ideologies from myself and others. And you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you have people that mean well and they want to like draw everybody under one tent. And here's the thing. If you cooning and buffooning, you can't be pro-black. He had a conversation, Oshay did, because, a lot of us content creators talk offline. Oshay has had a conversation over the years with George Macon, and George kind of convinced him that he's pro-black because Oshay, and who, by the way, let's clear this up, Oshay is definitely foundational Black American. I know he looked funny in the face and all that, but that brother's from Sacramento, California. So one thing that I don't do just because I have a conflicting ideology with somebody, I don't lie on, okay? A lot of people are saying that is incorrect information, okay? So if you hear anybody saying that, just because he's in Uganda doesn't mean he is Ugandan, okay? That's true, okay? He definitely does have a medical degree. Okay, he went to medical school in Poland for a couple of years or what have you because he couldn't get into a med school program over here in the States. And, he graduated the program and now he's over in Uganda trying to, do things over there. And I'm not going to say he hasn't done any good, but George Macon was basically trying to convince him that he's pro-black because he gives black people opportunities. Okay, now here's where I push back on that. White people give black folks opportunities. White people give us jobs. Okay. Does that mean they're pro-black? Hell to the no. So I had conversations with my brother George Macon about this. I said, look, man, and we were blunt about it. I said, man, all that cooning and buffooning we done seen Oshay doing over the years, you can't reform that. And I'm going to prove it here tonight. I'm going to prove it. Okay, because I've covered this before, few and far in between, but I've given examples to show people that just because somebody's entertaining, it doesn't mean that you can't challenge their ideology. It doesn't have to be personal. But we are in a critical juncture in this hour of our history where we don't need to be playing games about calling things what they are, whether it's dealing with white supremacists or whether it's dealing with coons amongst us, okay? So now, a bit more backstory on Oshay, who is definitely foundational black American freedman, okay, just a sambo. The thing about this, you have to understand. Let's be clear. To get into med school and graduate anywhere, you do have to have a measure of intelligence. There's plenty of intelligent sambos and sambets, okay? Here's the thing where you get a lot of that cooning and buffooning from in spaces like the black manosphere in particular. You have very intelligent people. For example, even though Obsidian Media Network, that's the name he used to go by on YouTube, one of the biggest coons out there. He was carrying water for pearly things and all of that, okay? But a lot of people try to argue just because he's cooning that he's not intelligent. That's pure bullshit. Nope, that man is very, very intelligent, okay? Same thing I'll say about Tommy Sotomayor. No matter how much I roast him, Tommy is a buffoon, but he is a very intelligent man. Okay, that's another reason why we go hard in the paint on clowns like that know better, that coon and buffoon for money. Okay, you have some people that they will underestimate someone just because they have a conflicting ideology, or, and I hate to use these puerile terms, I don't like someone. Let me tell you something. As an adult, you call things in the real world what they really are. When you underestimate people, that leaves you vulnerable, okay? That's never a wise thing to do, all right? So I will give credit where credit is due, all right? Because there have been people in the past that I've had conversations with about that. I'm like, nah, you trying to call somebody inarticulate or not intelligent because you don't agree with what they're saying or you pick a bone with them, that's not wise. And that's not something you want to encourage other people to do. I definitely won't do it, okay? That's not what I was taught to do in my family. I definitely was not taught to do that in the military, okay? In order to solve problems the right way, you have to call things exactly what they are. All right. So with Oshay and a lot of other guys that are in the black manosphere that are fairly intelligent, here's the story that led to them, their villain origin story. OK, we'll go there. They were very intelligent in school. They were often the little nerdy guys. OK, and they did excellent in academics. They wasn't, physically fit enough to try out for athletics or things like that. So their forte was getting good grades, excelling in academics. Nothing wrong with that at all. At all. I myself excelled in academics, okay? I was somewhat of a hybrid. I could do both if I wanted to, all right? So the guys that could only do one, all right, whereas you have the dumb jock types, just using this for reference, hey, they're good at physical activity and sports, but they're not too sharp upstairs, okay? I feel bad for people that fall into that category, especially if they were coddled by people that were just using them for their talent. Because at some point, if you don't care enough about that type of individual to make sure they actually learn the essentials, they struggle in life, okay? A lot of you probably know people like that. Then when it comes to, you're academically gifted, all right, like the brother Oshay, here's the thing. It comes from childhood trauma, being picked on for being the smart guy, the nerd in the class, the girls, because that's the main thing they whine about in the black manosphere space. The women, this, the women, that, the women, still traumatized by things from high school and college. I'm like, okay, now at this point, if that's still affecting you, you need to get yourself some professional therapy and some help, okay? But, they carry that chip on their shoulder and they all have the same line. I've gone over this before. The same line is this. y'all hated on me because I was smart or I was intelligent. Like, no, that's not always the case. Sometimes you get air quotes hated on because you're a coon. People not telling the whole story about that. Listen, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like I was a very intelligent young man in high school and college. I wasn't running around cooning. I didn't have them problems. Now, let's be honest. Yes, we've all of us that have been in the public school system, we've seen what happens when someone is intelligent or gifted. Yeah, sometimes people crack jokes and roast them or pick on them or what have you. Sometimes they might get bullied. Okay? So I'm not acting like that doesn't happen. Gonna be realistic about that. However, you got a choice to make as a male. I can't speak for the women. I've never been a little girl, and I'm definitely not a woman. I ain't trying to be. But as far as the little boys that have to grow up to be men, well, you got a decision to make. Okay, you can let people keep fucking with you, or you can learn to fight back. Now, me, I was somewhat of a bully that bullied the bullies. Okay, shit. I was known as the smart guy that would beat your motherfucking ass if need be. All right, that was me. So whatever you had to say, you kept it at words. You know what I'm saying? We was in school and we roasted or whatever. But if you ever decided to cross the line and try to get physical, well, wasn't gonna work out too good for you. Okay. I used to have a ball whooping ass in school. I know I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. In case any younger people over here don't follow my example. Okay, be better than me. All right. Nonetheless, though, you know that's how it is with some that are not able to fight back. They say, okay, one day I'm gonna get you guys back. I'm gonna get you women that ignored me and picked on me, and then they grow up and they form circle jerks like the Black Manosphere. And again, speak with balance. I'm not saying all of them, but it is the majority. The problem when you have any type of organization, if you don't check people that are off code and rein them in with some type of balance or structure, then hey, the entire organization gets typecast as, okay, this is what all of y'all stand for. And they've had some very questionable characters over there over the years, okay? From your hardcore Tito's, convicted pedophile, okay? I'm saying this because this is facts, okay? That from the Miko Worldwide and the Passport Bro movement, got caught messing around with little kids. Y'all probably remember that scandal. I mean, there's been several things attached to their organization. Instead of them coming out saying, hey, man, I'm talking about as a whole, not just one or two or three people. As a whole, hey, man, we don't rock with that. That ain't what we stand for. Nah. They don't do that. They sit there and cover for each other. Same thing with the Pearly Things issue. Instead of saying, you know what? Nah, we don't stand for that. They was cooning and buffooning. That's not how we get down. You saw Oshay for the longest defending the shit, and I have to give credit to what credit is due just for prosperity of what we're talking about, to put things into context. Got to give credit to Jason Black for that, even though he has his issues or whatever. People might disagree with him on certain stuff and other things. He was the one that did the broadcast that really brought that to the attention, and it's still up on his, I think, the business channel, where he brought heat to Pearly Things, and rightly so. Okay, because the Black Manosphere had crowned her the mayonnaise queen. For those that don't know how she got into that space like that, she paid Kevin Samuels, rest his soul, when he was alive, $1,000 to learn from him, and then she stole all this stuff and basically became a mayonnaise bland version of him, and the rest is history. And then Obsidian just was driving Miss Pearly. Yeah, so Pearly, y'all saw it. I mean, it's history at this point. It's YouTube history, okay? So, for the longest time, this is the problem with that Black Manosphere space. I'm not saying that for men or women, you don't call out and critique the things that you see that are wrong. But make sure you're doing it in a place of good faith, because when you start doing it from a place of bad faith, what you start doing is you'll have a Pearly Things that'll come along that's an anti-Black racist, and she'll say all the things you want to hear, all the things you agree with about the women, this, the women, that, and that woman is hideous. She really don't have a dog in the fight. She's not qualified to be speaking on nothing, but I digress. You'll agree with all the stuff she's saying if you're in them spaces. And then when she started anti-Black racism, now you got to turn your head and act like you didn't see it, instead of saying, hey, bitch, whoa, a bridge too far. Regardless of the problems we have with our women, you can't say that. Now, here's the ultimate off-code thing about when they had Pearly Things over there. First of all, I don't care what issue I have with a Black man or a Black woman in our community. I'm not inviting other people outside the community into our family business. That's a family affair. Same thing when dealing with the Tethers. Even though they're not of our lineage, they're still melanated people, and whatever issue I have with them, I'm going to deal with them. I'm not bringing no white folks, Asians, East Indians, Arabs, Hispanics into the middle of a family affair, so to speak, or extended family affair. All right, so that's the first thing that was off code. But you had a lot of them that ignored that. And good brother Michael Williams asked a question. He said, "Who are the coons cooning for in the black manosphere in a black space? Are they looking to cross over?" Good question, brother. I'm gonna give you the answer because see, I've seen the iterations and the absolute beginnings of the black manosphere. Great question. I'm gonna give you a straightforward answer. The beginning of the black manosphere, actually, which will be called 1.0, was credited to a guy named Sergeant Willie Pete and a couple other guys, okay? If you look them up or whatever, you can probably still find some of their content on YouTube. Guys like David Carroll, one of the ultimate sambos. I've warned y'all about him and broke that down over the years. But what happened, you know, when you got to 2.0 version, Angry Man, Oshay, Obsidian, the big three over there, all right? What happened was Obsidian was the one that came from the white manosphere, because there's a black and a white manosphere. For those that want context, the white manosphere would be basically Rollo Tomasi, Tom Likas, guys like that. And that's where Myron Gaines kind of tries to cater to and waffle in and out of. But Obsidian used to write for a white manosphere guy named Roos V. Okay. So what happened was, you know, Obsidian wanted to discuss a lot of black men's issues, and you know, the white boys over there basically told him, like, hey, man, look, you know, this stuff talking for white men. You need to go do your own thing and address black men's issues. And that's where Obsidian kind of latched on to Oshay. So, you know, like you said, here's the thing. What they try to do is align themselves with white men around two common denominators. They try to align themselves with men in the white manosphere behind being conservatives, okay, and Republicans. And they try to align with them on the issues of gender as far as dealing with their women. Here's the problem with both of them. They're trying to do that in both categories. You can't align with them as far as being a Republican or conservative or a Democrat or liberal. Either way, you can't align with them because, one, as a black American, what the hell do you have to conserve? We are at the bottom of the racial wealth gap, okay? What are you conserving? You don't have nothing to conserve. The only way that you can really be accepted by the Republicans or the conservative is to get in there and be a buck dancing sambo like your Tim Scotts, etc. Okay, same thing for the Democrats. You can't be a part of them as a black man and relate to them because they say they're liberal. Okay, where the fuck are we free at? Let's just keep it a buck. Where are we really free at? I'm not just talking about, you know what I'm saying, in the sense that we can walk around, do this or that within reason. I mean, are we free in America on the same level as white people? Can we do things to them and do it with impunity? Hell no, we can't. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse with his $1 million worth of whiteness defense. Look at Daniel Penny, what he did to our brother Jordan Neely. We can't do what they do. So where's the liberal for us at? We not liberated really in the sense like them where we can walk around and do whatever. Case in point, let me really drive it home for those that are listening to this. If you look at our voting rights, our so-called civil rights, that has to be voted on every 25 years. White people don't have to have their voting rights voted on every 25 years. That's us and all the white adjacents, okay? That's something that should be a permanent amendment to the Constitution. You ever notice this? You notice the Democrats never bring that up? If they really cared about doing stuff for black people, why don't they bring ratifying that up so that it's a permanent part of the Constitution? We don't have to vote on it every 4 years, huh? Every 25 years, excuse me, okay? So, Brother Michael Williams, did that answer your question? I hope it did, because it's not so much them trying to cross over. And with the gender roles, let me go there. They definitely don't have any camaraderie with their women because their problems are not ours. How could they be? The white woman issue with her white man is not the issue that black women have with us, or vice versa. That's two different spectrums of reality. What a lot of the goofballs tend to do, they tend to think, well, yeah, they're women and we all got these problems with these women, blah, blah, blah. First of all, the white men run the system that created most of these damn problems. And second, if you get over there, and a lot of these coons have found this out the hard way, the Myron Gaines, the Tommy Sotomayor's, whoever you want to name over there in the black manosphere, they've all had their turns where they hop over there and get the cooner with the white folks. And then what happens is you have white people over there like, hey, man, I don't give a damn how much cooning this Negro do. Get this black ass or her black ass out from over here. This is for white men and white men's problems. And then they look, I'm saying it in a mild way. They call them niggas to their face and everything. They still sit there and try to kiss ass. So, you know, you have the purist over there like, hey, man, I'm not trying to play and coddle up to none of these Negroes. This is all about us. It ain't no camaraderie behind the women. And it's sad when you see a lot of dudes that are black think that there is some type of camaraderie behind that. No, there's not. And you don't have to believe me. For anybody that believes it, hey, go on over there. The white boys will tell you. They'll let you know. I remember that was one of the issues, and this was very disgusting. A lot of them punk ass white boys, let me say this, even though I'm not a member of the Black Manosphere, never have been, I got to tell the truth about what I remember. I've been around these spaces a long time and I've seen all this stuff. When Kevin Samuels passed, I remember Tom Likers disrespecting that man, okay? And here's the sad thing about it with Kevin, because he was a part of the Black Manosphere, okay? A guy named BGS Ilmore, that's still in the Black Manosphere today, who's a black pill guy. He discovered Kevin early on. Then Oshay was the one that kind of put him up and elevated him. So everybody got to know him at the height of his popularity through Oshay. That's the facts about that. Kevin Samuels used to always praise Tom Likers, Rollo Tomasi, a lot of them guys over there in the white manosphere. And then they never said anything about him while he was alive because he had such a huge following and popularity. That would have went real bad, okay? They waited till the man died to start talking shit about him. Rollo, all of them. I was like, wow. That was a lesson that you cannot have no camaraderie with them because, see, in a lot of their minds, to prove the point, a lot of them thought that, okay, yeah, we're going to band together. It's a fraternity of men. We got the same issues with our women. And the white men were like, nah, nigga, that's what you think, but we ain't feeling that. They just didn't come out and tell them to their faces until they just got real irritated with them. They waited till Kevin passed to do that. And, you know, the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? So that's a bit of backstory on a lot of that stuff that goes on. But what we're going to be dealing with tonight is Oshay's ideology, because he does think, and I'm going to say think, he does really think he's pro-black due to certain people telling him certain things because he does this or that for people or have done. And so people, and look, a lot of people have gotten known through Oshay. During the Sunday Rumble years, a lot of y'all don't know what that was. If you type Sunday Rumble, that used to be like basically a live stream he hosted where he would have a bunch of different panelists up there. And if y'all go back and look at some of this old content, it's a who's who. I got to tell the truth about this. It's a who's who of a lot of well-known content creators today, with the exception of a few. You had our good brother Philip Scott used to come over there, Anthony Brian Logan, Cynthia G. Wow, it's so Kevin Samuels, Nyla Says, a brother named Taz Exclusives, and the Sunday Rumble was basically like a free-for-all debate where it got crazy. I mean, it was kind of based off BGS's version of that called the Coliseum, which came before that. And it was, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people, you know, kind of cut their YouTube teeth over there. All right, now I was never on them panels, but I observed it. I used to watch it because, you know, at that time, that's where a lot of the so-called black conservatives were gathered. So I wanted to see what their thought process was. And I observed that, you know, off and on for a couple of years. And, you know, enough to be familiar with that space. Like I said, there's some interesting content behind it. If you search that and can find some of them, okay, they should still be up. But this ideology that Oshay thinks, he doesn't understand what pro-black is, because a lot of them over there in those spaces, y'all probably heard of Obsidian if you're familiar with his content. They have these little derogatory phrases for people that are black first and pro-black, called the community. Basically, it's a slur for community. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to mock us because these motherfuckers think that you can kiss white ass and you're going to be a pet sambo, okay? Community, all of that, the pro-blacks, as if it's a group you can join, okay? That's the other thing. A lot of them think that they know so much about people that are over here on the black grassroots where they talk about it as if it's a group you can join. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and it's not. It never has been. Being black first, pro-black, Foundation of Black American Freedom, these are not groups you can join. You can't go and fill out an application. You don't pay no monthly dues. Either you are or you're not. Especially in the case of our lineage. Either you're born into our lineage or you're not. Starting with your biological parents, what are you, okay? If one of them isn't Foundation of Black American Freedom, then you're not. Simple as that. With pro-black and black first, like I said earlier, anyone can be pro-black, which means to be for black people, but very few can be black first. Very few black people are black first, okay? Some people struggle with that, putting other people ahead of, putting our people ahead of every other group. Okay, so they kind of have that mindset. If you listen to the context, he'll talking about, I'm a pro-black. I'm a pro-black, as if he's a part of the group. This is what happens when you're disconnected from your people. Okay, y'all gonna hear what we talking about. We about to get started here. When you disconnected from your people for such a long time, and then when you were growing up, you was kind of socially awkward, intelligent person, you really kind of be like on the outs of the culture, not because people didn't want you in it. A lot of that come from all that damn cooning. And see, one of the big problems with the so-called nerd class, because just because you're a nerd doesn't really mean you're intelligent. But for those that actually are, sometimes if you start throwing things in people's faces, especially back when you're in your high school years or what have you, and all of us have been kids in high school, people are going to react a certain way and humble your ass. And a lot of times what the issue is with the community, believe it or not, they don't want to admit it, they got roasted real damn bad. That's what it was. And some girl didn't want to talk to them, and they carried this torch for girls they had crushes on. I know this is pathetic, but this is the truth. They carried this torch for women that they are, the young girls they had crushes on that are women now. And now the whole thing is, ha ha, see, you didn't want me, now you're a baby mama, this, that, the third. I'm like, okay, cool, she probably is, but brother, she still ain't with you. Like, how did that give you a win if you hadn't got the woman that you want? See, I'm not used to that whining, okay? So that's why that space could never appeal to me. But let's go ahead and get into this tonight here. Oshay Duke Jackson has some commentary about Shedeur Sanders, all right? So, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see the problem with what he's saying, talking about he's pro-black, because I kept trying to tell George this a while back. I said, man, just because you talk to somebody and tell them something and in a sense kind of get them to adopt parts of your ideology, what you actually are at your core is not going to change. And Oshay is a coon, okay? There's really nothing to argue about. I've seen him over the years cooning and buffooning, and y'all finna see it here tonight. We're going to review this, and then we're going to break down exactly why I stand by that statement. Let's get into it. So now, I want to show y'all something. I showed you Steven from Django there at first, and now we're looking at Shedeur Sanders. Okay, when you look at Shedeur Sanders, D.L. Sanders' son, exceptionally talented, gifted, upstanding young man. He ain't no criminal record. He ain't running around doing that. The white media's narrative, oh, he's so arrogant. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. He's a thug. How you gonna relate thug to this kid, huh? So the white media, they call him all these names. Now, I'm telling you this for a reason, because you got some Negroes with a plantation mind in our community that whatever the white media say, oh, you gonna run with it. You be like, okay, wait a minute, I hear you saying it, but if you're gonna label somebody a thug, shouldn't they be a criminal? Shouldn't they be running around fighting and beating up people and shooting folks, stabbing people? You know what I'm saying? Cursing folks, all that. Shedeur Sanders doesn't even curse. The brother is, you know what I'm saying? He's raised up in the Christian faith from what I can understand. So when they labeled him that, you got some Negroes that no matter what the white media say, they don't look at the facts. They just run with it. You're going to see Oshay doing that here, okay? So now let me show you something, because we're going to make this stick. Here's Oshay, okay? You see him. Now, a lot of people take the way he look and say he's non-FBA. Again, that's not true. He is from Sacramento, California. That's where his people are from. He just moved over there and went to school, medical school in Poland, then he moved to Uganda. Okay, that's where he resides now, all right? When you look at this dude, and per his own mouth, I've heard him say that, hey, he stayed at his mother's house while he was going to medical school till he was 34, okay? Now, hey, man was trying to make something of himself. I understand that, but, you gotta be honest. If somebody had to do that, and then they look at somebody like, Shedeur Sanders that comes from a wealthy family, okay, famous father, he's athletically talented, you're going to kind of see where Oshay has some resentment for Shedeur Sanders, okay? So we just got to call it what it is. And see, on my broadcast last night on my main channel where I was talking about Kevin Gates, you got to watch when people are jealous of other people, because you can't tell me that this isn't coming from a place of jealousy. You got to understand that a lot of these guys that are academically gifted like that, you know what I'm saying? And God bless them for their academic talent. There's nothing wrong with being intelligent. We need intelligent people. But if you don't overcome that stuff that traumatized you from high school to the point that you're jealous of other people, you can start to project that and it's gonna show, okay? And that's where some of this criticism is coming from, because they kind of see anybody that's athletically gifted or physically gifted as the people that bullied or roasted them in school, okay? Yeah, we going there. Got more to show you here, because see, we got to show you something, right?
The year.
We're going to go ahead and get started playing his critique, and I'm going to let him go on for a minute, and y'all going to catch the things even before I even interject on it. But we're going to do something once and for all to show you that this dude is definitely a hardcore coon masquerading behind the term pro-black. I call it a coon million. Let's let it continue.
It's 1998. The NFL community is having a debate about who should be picked number 1 in that year's draft. Would it be Peyton Manning from Tennessee or Ryan Leaf from Washington State? People are going back and forth, and they say both of these guys are sure picks and will become Hall of Famers one day. But the Indianapolis Colts decided to select Peyton Manning, and the San Diego Chargers with the second pick would take Ryan Leaf. For those of you who understand the Ryan Leaf story, we all know what Ryan Leaf became, one of the number 1 quarterback busts of all time. But Peyton Manning would have the opposite effect in his career. He would go on to win 5 league MVPs and 2 Super Bowls. Fast forward! The year is 2004, and Peyton Manning's little brother, Eli Manning, who went to Ole Miss, would be coming out himself as a quarterback. He would also go number 1 in that draft. But there's a problem. The father of the Mannings, a former quarterback in his own right, Archie Manning, says, hell no, you're not going to the Chargers. And remember earlier,
now, I want you to listen to what Oshay is laying out here, and I want you to see the huge leap that he's about to try to make to correlate this to Shedeur Sanders' situation. Now, if you hadn't seen this, a lot of y'all probably like, well, what the fuck does this have to do with Shedeur Sanders? Just wait till you see this leap of logic here. Let's let it continue.
I talked about Peyton Manning would have been drafted by the Chargers if the Colts wouldn't have taken him. But why is that? Well, Ryan Leaf was very close with the Manning family, and he told the Mannings that going to the Chargers would be destructive for Eli Manning's career. So what Archie Manning did was to say, hey, listen, if you guys take my son Eli Manning, we're simply not going to play. But the Chargers did it anyway. They selected Eli Manning in the first pick of the draft. But 45 minutes later, they did something historic. Eli Manning would be traded to the New York Giants for Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers would have a great career. So would Eli Manning. But then a term came out around that time called quarterback dad, and Archie Manning then showed other people in the NFL how to bully teams into getting you what you want. And we've been seeing quarterback dad or guys in the league pushing their way in the NFL. Look at Marvin Harrison Sr. with Marvin Harrison Jr. And then that was supposed to be the case with Deion Sanders.
Now you see what he's trying to set up. Okay, so let me go ahead and from a common sense point of view, tell you what the problem is with what Oshay is saying. Okay. This is a part of that problem that, and I took as long to lay out that ideology of the black manosphere for a reason. You're gonna see why. The problem that they always have is because they come from that philosophy of, oh, ain't no racism, oh, ain't no white supremacy, this, that, the third. In fact, they try to mock people in the black grassroots when we talk about something that you can clearly see from history to present day. Okay, they adopt the mindset, okay, we'll just pretend it doesn't exist, you know, like Jesse Lee Peterson, Larry Elder, etc. Okay, or we just gonna say it ain't no such thing, and you know, and that's cool. You can do that until the white folks show you that it does exist. Okay, so you see the problem here. He's trying to say that Deion Sanders and the other brother they're on the same level of influence, and you have to laugh at this because this shows you how naive and really so lost some of our people are that have this ideology. They're trying to put Deion and the other brother there on the same level as Eli and Peyton Manning's father, as if they have the same pull in the NFL. Now, family, y'all see the problem with that? The NFL teams are primarily owned by white men, okay? All of them, as far as I understand. Even when you have black men that have head coaching jobs, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator jobs, they don't call shots or pull strings on who's going to be on that team or not. They don't. They take orders from the team owner, who is white. Now, Question I must ask everybody in my chat room. Is there anybody in my chat room that believes that any black man, no matter how exceptional and talented an athlete you were, like the great Deion Sanders, do you believe any black man retired has that kind of stroke to say, hey, you better put my son on your team? You see where I'm going with that? This is what I was trying to tell my brother George making about Oshay's ideology, man. It's some people, man, that you just got to realize are too far gone, man. Nobody with common sense would, because think about it. Just say it out loud to yourself. Deion Sanders got so much pull that he can bully a team into taking his son. Let's really break that down from a logical perspective. If you are going to bully someone, that means you need to have power. Explain to me, ladies and gentlemen, what power does Deion Sanders have over any team to say, hey, you better take my son or else? Can he cut any funding from the team? Can he pull strings with the NFL commissioner to get the team removed from the league? Can he do anything on a political level to manipulate that situation? Be like, hey, you better take my son. Do you think any black person has that type of power? Come on now. Y'all talk to me in this chat room. Let me know. Let me know. If you in here, I want to hear from you. Let me know. What sense does that make? You see the flawed logic here where Oshay is going with this? Oh, but he ain't done yet. Y'all probably thought, oh, this is just the tip of the iceberg. He finna get to the hardcore coon in just a minute. Let's let it continue.
Sanders, which is his son. So this strategy would have seemed to work until it didn't. Shedeur Sanders performed very well last year at the University of Colorado. For sure, he should have been selected within the top 3 picks as a quarterback, but he didn't. He was selected in the 5th round, and a lot of people were upset.
Clearly, it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion. Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on him? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on him. How the hell does that happen?
Now, you know it's bad when horseshoe crab hairline Stephen A. Sambo Smith has to talk sense. When Donald Trump himself tweeted out that, hey, something's wrong with this. How do you not draft Shedeur Sanders in at least the first or the 2nd round? Definitely. But he went 144 overall, as you see up here on the screen. So now, got to give credit where credit is due. Even one of the biggest Sambos on the planet, Stephen A. Smith had to call that out. And old Donald Trump himself had to speak on it. We all saw that, right? Now, I want you to watch where Oshay is about to try to swing this to, because, see, we all know what that was. Deion Sanders, during his time playing, for those of us that remember Deion in his heyday, in his prime time, pun intended, man, he was braggadocious. He had the swagger. He was good at what he could do. He could talk trash and back up everything he said. This is why he's respected as one of the greatest cornerbacks of all time, if not the great. Okay, definitely top 5 if you're going to have the conversation. All right. So now, when you have someone like that, okay, the white supremacists are like, damn, I hate that you so good at what you do. I want to punish you. But if I do that, I'm hurting my bottom line, and I can't replace you with any other talent at that time that's, good enough to do what you do. Okay, so he had them in a position back then. Now, this is in the 90s. Well, they just had to grin and bear it. They just had to take it. They just had to be like, God damn. I hate it. The way he used it. Cause look, that's one of the main people that started like the celebrating in the end zone and all that. And you see how they penalize that today in any sport. I saw the situation with the sister there that was running track, where, she was, doing a little thing where she was so fast she had to put her shoes out with a fire extinguisher. See, they don't like us celebrating when we excel at something and we're exceptionally talented. Oh no, we supposed to be the humble Negro with our head down. Yassa boss, I'm glad you let me shine and show my talent. That's how we supposed to be, the Yassa boss mindset, okay? And you finna see that Yassa boss mindset coming out of Oshay. Watch what he's about to take this. And I'm gonna say something, man. I tell everybody this, and I try to think about it and gauge myself about it as often, okay, as I tell other people. You about to watch it when even Sambos are coming out on the right side of history and you not? Oh, y'all about to see what I mean. Watch this.
If you look at the 5 quarterbacks taken before Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, we can only see that maybe one was better. Cam Ward, Jackson Dart is debatable by the Giants, Tyler Shook for the Saints, Jalen Milroe came to the Seattle Seahawks, and Dylan Gabriel got taken in the 3rd round to the Cleveland Browns. But now, while Stephen A. Smith is upset that Shedeur didn't get drafted higher, he also admits this.
He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. There's many people who would tell you, look, throw for throw, he can match up with anybody in this draft. Whether that's Cam, whether that's Jackson Dart, whether that's Tyler Shook, he can match up throw for throw. He had no help at Colorado, no offensive line. Like, he had more free runners come at him over the past 2 years than any quarterback in FBS, but still he slid. So what does that tell you? There's some things that people just don't like or don't feel are worth first-round value. He's going to get picked today, and I'll tell you what, if you thought he had a chip on his shoulder before, if you thought he was a little bit surly before, look out.
Let me tell you the problem that I have with Negroes that talk like this, okay? I'm a business owner, okay? Some of you over here on my Patreon are business owners, all right? And businessmen and businesswomen, all right? When you do business, it's not about personal feelings like and don't like. That's one of the things y'all know I have a big pet peeve with about black folks using the term like and don't like, because that puts you on the mindset and the level of a damn toddler or a child. Adults are not supposed to react to things like children. If I'm making a business decision and I'm the recruiter of a team or I'm the team owner, I'm not looking at who I like or don't like. I'm trying to get the best players for my team, bar none, for every position. I don't give a damn about, like, as long as there's nothing criminal you got going on, nothing that's going to be a bad look PR-wise. If I don't see anything like that, and you can't say Shedeur Sanders has anything like that, then I'm going with the best player. That's how a smart business person does things, okay? So for this Sambo to sit up here, and you can always tell the Negroes to have the Yassa boss mindset. You talking about what you don't like? Well, did you notice nobody's ever explained what all this stuff is they don't like about Shedeur Sanders? I mean, feel free. Can anybody fill me in? Explain what he's doing that's just so bad that, and then if you really want to compare and contrast, let's go back a couple of years. Anybody remember Johnny Manziel? I know a lot of people might not be sports heads over here, and I'm not really either, but I remember things. Johnny Manziel was a drunken, drug addict buffoon. They didn't put him through the ring and talk like that, and you saw where he went in the draft and all that. Oh, he had several chances to mess up back and forth. You see what I'm saying? Why we say that white folks get to fail up and black people have to earn every damn thing we get. So now you can't even compare Shedeur Sanders' behavior to Johnny Manziel or any of the others, countless ones that I can name that have done all types of things. Okay? That they don't know, they just sweep under the rug. But because he wears jewelry and because the brother is confident, he ain't cursing nobody out or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, now he's arrogant, he's this, and they use the term thug? Where? See, this is why you can't take a white supremacist serious, man, because words have meanings. If you're gonna say he's a thug, then show me the proof. I'm waiting to see it. It's like, y'all, if you follow me on X, I remember at the time when all this stuff was going on around Shedeur Sanders getting drafted. And I asked the white folks if they have so much to say. This is why I don't let them talk in my spaces, because when it's time for them to answer something in good faith, they don't have no answers. I said, white folks, where's all this thug behavior that you can show me with Shedeur Sanders? I say, post it under this thread. Give me some footage. Give me some audio of him threatening to harm somebody. Has he committed some crimes? I mean, make me a believer. Show me. Do you know not one of them could provide anything? Of course they don't. They never speak up when it's time. No. All they do is troll and say goofball shit that doesn't really address any questions. And none of them replied on their post. They ain't even try to troll that because they knew that how stupid that would make you look to try to claim that this young man is a thug or somehow a problem for any team, okay? You don't like how he talks. You don't like that he comes from a wealthy family, a black one. You don't like that he drives an expensive car. Just say that. That's envy and jealousy. And for any smart business person, you don't have room for that in your business if you're trying to make a profit and get your company or your sport or team or whatever to the next level. That's not how a smart business owner thinks. But You're going to see what Mr. Yassa boss Oshay happens to come in with his line of thought. Let's let it continue.
Now, this behavior was also mentioned by NFL insider and former player Louis Riddick.
Because I spoke to some executives, giving me some background, because they didn't like some of the things that they were seeing. And when they talked about it, they said stuff like him sending out tweets tagged with hashtag legendary. They talked about him appearing to have more of an interest.
Now, I want y'all to listen to these complaints that they're saying, because Stephen A. Smith, he's telling you what other people were saying that they had an issue with. Now, this is what the big uproar is, okay? I want you to listen to this, and not only do I want you to hear what Stephen A. is saying, just wait till Oshay comes back and start tap dancing and buck dancing, and this is somebody that's going to call himself pro-black now. Man, we're going to make it make sense over here tonight. Let's let it continue.
Interest in his own brand, and that he thinks about that more than he thinks about the team or the league. They talked about if he was more buttoned up and all about ball and team as opposed to himself, he would have fallen no later than number 21 in the draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Instead, he fell to 144, and they call it a minimum of a $30 million mistake.
They basically did that to stick it to his father, Deion Sanders, okay? That's what that was all about. Now, those of us with sense that understand how racism and white supremacy works in every facet of American society, we get that. Oh, but just wait. Oshay has a quite different take, and he's about to explain it to us.
I want to mention some quarterbacks that we all know, like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. These guys are completely talented, but being drafted by Andy Reid is a great thing. Andy Reid is an excellent coach. He's developed multiple quarterbacks, and he's won at almost every level that he's coached at. Patrick Mahomes even sat behind Alex Smith for a year before he was able to start in 2019. The same thing with Tom Brady. He came into a great situation. He sat behind Drew Bledsoe, and he's also coached by Bill Belichick. At the time, the Patriots were a great organization. And see, now what we're dealing with is Shedeur Sanders is going to the Cleveland Browns. You're picked in the 5th round, and you're also with a terrible organization. It would be different if he was picked by a good organization by the Steelers. But I'm gonna be honest, Shedeur Sanders' career is really in shambles before he even plays a game, because look at who he's playing for. If you think about the Cleveland Browns, I don't know who they really have on the offensive line. They had a good offensive line coach with Bill Callahan. It's just too bad that he went to go coach for his son at the Tennessee Titans. And then you have cap issues. They just signed Myles Garrett to a new deal. Kevin Stefanski is a pretty good offensive mind, but the reality is that Shedeur Sanders did this to himself. He was more concerned about himself and his own brand than about the team. Then it came out that New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll, and we must understand that the Giants needed a quarterback, asked Shedeur Sanders to do some explanations on the whiteboard, and Shedeur Sanders did not come prepared. And then also Shedeur Sanders gave him a big ass attitude. And this incident went through
Now, I want you to listen to what Oshay calls gave him a big ass attitude. See, family, for this boy, let me try to be somewhat cordial. For this joker to call himself pro-black and have that, if you don't stand up straight and tuck in your shirt, and when Mouser come by, don't look him straight in the eye mindset, this is exactly what he sound like, and he don't realize this. He don't. I want you to see what he calls Shedeur giving him a big ass attitude. Because when you hear somebody say that, you would think, okay, somebody's cursing, somebody's being belligerent, somebody's calling you out your name. You got to understand that black people, man, we're the only people in this country where we can't even wear our hair a certain way without being critiqued. And unfortunately, you have some Negroes that they fall in line behind that. They think that we're wrong for just existing and being who we are. So you have to be careful about that sambo mindset, because there's a lot of people amongst us that have been conditioned to that. Hey, that treatment of us is normal. That we can't just be ourselves. Everything we say, oh, you're an angry black person. If you say something and you correct somebody on something, oh, you're the angry black person. If you're quiet and don't talk to nobody, oh, you're being standoffish. You don't like us. There's always some type of little microaggressions that they're leveling towards us. And Oshay seems to be the type of guy that throughout his life, he must think that that's normal. He thinks you have to conform to that. And again, if you could show me where Shedeur Sanders was doing anything that I mentioned previously, okay, you will have an argument. Want you to see what he calls a big ass attitude, though, because I'm not done with this by sight. Let's let it continue.
All of the NFL franchises. Shedeur and Deion Sanders, they have to blame themselves for this. I mean, you're the quarterback of the football team. The quarterback needs to be a person who is a leader, a person who is selfless, and a person that can take criticism. The issue with Shedeur Sanders is that his dad has been coaching him his whole entire life, from youth football. I believe he helped coach him in high school and then through college. But it's the only time that Deion Sanders can't help his ass anymore. I mean, if Shedeur Sanders wanted to have that attitude, then maybe Deion Sanders should have accepted an NFL coaching job. But now daddy can't save your ass anymore. And this is something that Shedeur Sanders has to deal with. It wasn't that his ability didn't get him into the place, it was his attitude. Stephen A. Smith admits it, that if he would have done things the right way, he would have gone no lower than 21. Now, as a 5th round pick, I mean, they can do anything they want with you. The lower you go in the NFL draft, the less investment that they have. And not only that, you go to the Cleveland Browns and they have already taken a quarterback in the 3rd round above you, which is ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I've seen this kid play Dylan Gabriel. He's a good, accurate quarterback and a good thrower of the football. But now you're fighting against that guy too, a guy that the team has invested in more than they've invested in you. Shedeur Sanders may not even make the team, and it's all his fault. And I hope you guys understand that you can think whatever you think about yourself, but whenever you're working for someone else, you need to have the right attitude, okay? Like you do. It's somebody else's business that you're trying to be a part of. Like, nobody has time to deal with your issues or to deal with your problems or to deal with any of that.
I want you to listen to how Oshay talking about Shedeur Sanders. Like, he just, look, watch this. Let's put this in the proper context for anybody that might be confused about my critique here. We all remember Allen Iverson when he was in the NBA, okay? Now, is there anybody in my chat room, listen to this live recorded, that would think that Shedeur Sanders and Allen Iverson have the same attitude? Come on now, where my people at that remember AI when he was in the NBA? You see, now that, if he had that attitude, okay, you would almost have an argument. Nobody can accuse Shedeur Sanders of being anything close to Allen Iverson, okay? But to hear Oshay tell it, you would think that that's what we're dealing with here. Oh, just wait, he ain't done yet. Let's let it continue.
Is the real world, okay? And I don't care how good you think you is or who your dad is and all of that. If you don't have respect for the ownership or for people, it doesn't matter. And Shedeur Sanders just learned that. I mean, he didn't participate in the NFL Combine. I mean, he didn't interview very well. So what did he think he was going to get? The same thing happened with that kid in Tennessee, the Nico guy. I forgot how to pronounce his last name. Nico Iamaleava, whatever his name is. He had an attitude too. And then look what happened with him. They got rid of his ass to Tennessee, and he's over at UCLA. Nobody wants to deal with, I would hate to see it, this Gen Z attitude that somebody owes you something. This is the real world. You're going to get with it or get lost. He's a good player. He can humble himself and learn from it. But if not, the world will continue.
Okay, so you hear the critique that he just gave there of Shedeur Sanders, and, you know, everything that he says is wrong with his attitude, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Now, here is Oshay present day, okay? I got to go here because this goes into what I was talking about last night on my stream about people being jealous of people that are more successful than they are, all right? I will give credit where credit is due. Oshay is a med school graduate. As far as I'm aware of, I don't think he put that degree into practice yet. Who knows what plans he has for the future? Okay. He's over in Uganda. He's the content creator. He has a lot going on over there as far as producing his own content and stuff. No problem there with that. That's good. But look at his image, okay? Look at this man's image. This is a grown man, okay? You got so much critique for Shedeur Sanders and his situation, But yet you get online and present yourself. Because look, this isn't just the only time. Don't think I'm cherry picking. Most of the time when you see him, when he does come on camera, he don't give a damn about his presentation. Shirt, collar all lifted up, wrinkled shirt. Just looking dusty to me. This is somebody that's always talking about how dusty somebody look too. Let me ask the question. Does this look dusty to you all? Because if you're going to be the head of any type of corporation, business, or whatever, your appearance matters. Now, here's the grand irony about this. Rest in power to Kevin Samuels. No matter what you think about him, Kevin Samuels was big on presentation and image for black men. For those of you that don't know, a lot of you are familiar with Kevin Samuels when he took off and gained notoriety on YouTube. But before he was popular, Kevin Samuels wasn't talking to women or about women at first. When BGS Ilmore brought Kevin Samuels into the black manosphere, his critique was about black men, their appearance, getting their skill sets together to get good paying jobs, staying in shape, making sure that you're not out here doing goofball things. You know what I'm saying? That's what Kevin Samuels sounds like. I can prove that. That is a fact. A lot of people don't know about that content because it didn't take off like when he started critiquing the women. And look, let me be clear. When BGS Ilmore brought Kevin Samuels into the black manosphere, they was calling him gay. Oh, they treated him horribly, which is funny because when he blew up, what happened was Kevin, and a lot of people have said this, and I don't blame the brother. They called him all kinds of gay and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And look, I've critiqued Kevin about some of his kind of dainty little feminine ways when he was alive. But, oh, boy, they gave Kevin the business. I remember this during them Coliseum days. So, when he got popping, Kevin was like, oh, now that I'm on top, now all of y'all want to work with me. Kevin was like, man, I don't even know y'all. Who can blame him? If somebody disrespect you the way they did this, man, all kinds of names they was calling him, now all of a sudden when he blow up and become well known and, getting appearances on TV shows and things like that, talking to famous celebrities, now everybody want to, Kevin, hey, Kevin, remember me? Hey, big head. Kevin was like, man, whatever, dog. I ain't, You know what I'm saying? Look, I disagree with a lot of Kevin's ideology, but I'm just talking about the truth. So Kevin, you know what I'm saying, being that, he was an image consultant by trade, he would even get on Oshay's ass for looking like this. This don't make no damn sense. See, you remember what I said last night on my broadcast where you get so focused on worrying about other people that are more successful than you, and then you start critiquing them without paying attention to your own situation. Now, let's be clear. A lot of times, in fairness, people that are academically gifted, they kind of fall short on like getting their personal appearance together. Sometimes they fall short on getting their hygiene together. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that's something that they've never focused any attention to because they put all their focus into academics. This is why you need to be balanced in life, okay? Because one thing that I would never do if I did start going on camera, what have you, you ain't gonna see me getting on camera. I need to probably start doing that to show people how you're supposed to look on camera. You need to be presentable, man. One, respect not only yourself, but respect your audience. And that's one thing I will give Kevin, and he did kind of set off a trend of that, where you start seeing the guys put on a dress shirt, tie, suit, or what have you. Because as black people, we should be presentable when we're talking to an audience, okay? But this ain't it. This is something that you do when you're a child. I just got to be honest, man. He got all that critique for other people to my dusty this, dusty that. This looks dusty, and he's done this on a lot of his damn appearances. It's almost like, the dude don't know how to dress like a grown man, but you worrying about Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, we got to go here, okay? Because I need to show you something else. This is another picture of him in the same type of shirt. So now, for example, if you did a live stream like this, because this is a snapshot from one of his live streams. If you saw how you looked on camera, you'd be like, wait a minute, man, let me change into something. Come on, man. Yeah, I ain't saying you can't wear a casual shirt, but damn, man, fix your collar at least, brother. Especially you're going to be critiquing people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like how, much his family placed on that when you go outside the house. But my family didn't play that, okay? You could not leave outside of my family's home. None of my family members looking like no damn fool, okay? They didn't play that. From my grandparents to our parents, no, they were like, nope, when you step outside this door, you represent this family's name. You're not going to embarrass us, okay? And that stuck with most of us that become adults in my family. So I just showing y'all this, but we're not done yet. He got some more critique because, see, when he did that first video I showed y'all, a lot of people got on his ass in his comment section. Oh, boy, they lit him up. And one thing that he's poor on doing, because everybody's open to critique, me, anybody. One of the problems that he and others like him have is when they're critiqued about something, they can't accept that good faith criticism and say, you know what? I didn't see it from that point of view. I see what you're saying. I'm not saying that you got to change your viewpoint, but when so many people in your audience are telling you, hey, man, this ain't it, you cooning. Oh, no. What he does, if you're familiar with him, he started doing what most people do in the black manosphere. They start deflecting, blaming, and then his thing, and dude, I'm not going to take this away from him. The dude is very funny. He's funny. He started trying to clown and roast and all of that. But I'm like, yeah, you can do that, and it can be funny to be damned, but you still cooning. You still cooning. Don't believe me? Check this out. We finna get into the second half. Y'all can judge it for yourself.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Oshay Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I've been seeing so many black men upset with my criticism of Shedeur Sanders, and I want to make the case because I know that some of you brothers is get a little bit of emotional, get a little angry, and that shows concern.
Here you go with the gaslighting now. So now everybody that tried to check him about that cooning behavior, because we all saw that the white supremacist structure of the NFL did that and had that boy go in the 5th round, 144 to try to take a jab at Deion Sanders. Okay, that's all that was about. Now we see that because he's short-sighted on that, and people was trying to call him. Look, I saw the comments on both of these videos. It wasn't even people really disrespecting him. They was trying to, hey, man, nah, hold on, brother. They did this because they laid out their reasons. They were articulate about it. Nope. When he come back to give his commentary, oh, nah, it's just, oh, you were emotional. You were sensitive. All that gaslighting and stuff. See, that don't work with people that have common sense and actually understand the system of racism and white supremacy, okay? You know what I'm saying? See, let me tell you something. Let me say this to any black person listening to this broadcast. It's great to be academically gifted, but if you're not astute on racism and white supremacy as a black person in America, well, what do you really know? Because to quote the words of the late great elder and ancestor now, Neely Fuller Jr., if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, everything you think you know will only confuse you. So let it continue.
And I want you to know, as a brother from the historic African-American community, I was rooting for Shedeur Sanders. I am still rooting for him as an OG. I feel like I'm an elder now. And I will tell him like my...
Oh, I got to stop him right here. No. We got several things to address about them statements he just made. First of all, y'all heard what he said in that previous video. That's why I let him talk as much as I did, before I interrupted him in the prior half of this broadcast. Does that sound like he was rooting for Shedeur Sanders to you, that commentary? I want to know. Talk to me. Because it didn't sound like it to me, but maybe you all can see it from a different point of view. You're free to speak your mind. Did it sound like in the previous commentary that he was rooting for Shedeur Sanders? Did it? I want to know. Talk to me. Did I miss something? I want to know. Hey, everybody, free to sign off in here as you please. Did it sound like he was rooting for Shedeur Sanders? Because I didn't hear it. Now, the statement that he made, I'm an OG, I'm an elder. First of all, you're younger than me, okay? I'm not 60 years old. I'm not even 50 years old, but he's younger than me, talking about you feel like you are elder. First of all, that term feel like, how you an elder in the community? You're older, but an elder, let's be clear on this term elder. Let's get this straight. Just like I got what pro-black is and isn't straight, okay? Elder in the community, if you not at least in your mid 50s to early 60s, etc., you're not no damn elder in the community. And in conjunction to your age, an elder in the community has to have a track record of putting in work for the black community, decades long. Let's name elders. See, when you are detached from your people, you will make asinine statements like this. Because this right here, when I heard that, you an elder, maybe he means in terms of YouTube, okay? But you an elder? Talking like in the black community? No. An elder in the black community is Dr. Randy Short. Dr. James Small, okay? Rest in power to Runoko Rashidi. The Dr. John Henry Clarks, the Yosef Ben Yakinis, The Dr. Francis Chris Wilsons, naming people that are not here. We naming examples of elders. Shahrazad Ali still with us. Dr. Claude Anderson, Oh, well, we can name who the elders are in the community. Your name don't fit in there. Mine doesn't fit in there for the simple fact that, one, I'm not old enough to be considered an elder. And number two, I have not put in nowhere near as much work as those names that I have named. I've been doing what I can for my community a long time, but it's not just about the work that you put in. It's about the wins and the gains that you've gotten for our people. We all know Dr. Claude Anderson's tireless work and the things that he was able to accomplish, just to name one. When you look at Shahrazad Ali, the countless and tireless work that she put in over decades to try to change the mindset of our people so that we can have healthier Black relationships, and she succeeded to the people that embrace the information. We have our issues and problems today, but her work is a body of work where you can study that and actually get some insight from it and course correct. The same could be said of Neely Fuller Jr.'s work, okay? Life-saving information. So when you use the term elder, and see, this is why I keep saying it, words have meanings. I know we're in a society today where you can just say anything, it's supposed to mean anything. For example, like the white supremacists took the term woke and it can just mean whatever they want it to mean. No, that's not how reality works. So calling himself an elder, no. And look, maybe some of you can correct me. Do you think that Oshay Duke Jackson is a damn elder in what community? I mean, what you do for Black America, okay? And I ain't talking about letting somebody get on a live stream and you know what I'm saying? You boost that notoriety. No. Well, what are you doing in a tangible way? Because see, let's just cut the brass tacks. He said he was an elder. Y'all tell me, because maybe I missed it. When has he spoke up for reparations for Foundation of Black American Freedmen? When have you spoke up for an anti-Black hate crime bill for us? When have you been on the right side of history when something happens to one of our people like Sonia Massey, George Floyd? And if you go back and look at some of these names, some of the names, if he hadn't put the streams on private and taken them down, he was on the wrong side of a lot of that. He was sitting over here cooning and buffooning when the most egregious things happened to our people. He always come from the standpoint of wagging his finger at other Black folks. When you be like, wait a minute, man, did you see what happened? They shouldn't have been a criminal, this, that, the third. I mean, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, look, what I'm saying, you know me. When I say something, you can go and verify it independent of anything I say. Go look some of this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be like, whoa. In fact, the business, just type in his name and any of the names of something that somebody happened to, just listen to his commentary on situations. I remember years ago, I covered a situation where he was assigned with them white folks against our sister Angela Bassett. Yeah, so this is the person that's gonna tell you they pro-Black now, but you know, he said he an elder in the community. I'm like, yeah, I can't tell. Let's let it continue. We about to see what the elder thinks here about what happened to Shadua Sanders.
My grandma told me when I was coming up, just keep on keeping on, all right? But I think that a lot of you Black men out there and some of you Black women out there got life messed up, okay? And I want to educate you, brothers and sisters, on how life really works, especially when you want to work in somebody else's business or company. First of all, I want to address the Cormani McLean situation. Cormani McLean, he was a 5-star recruit from the same city Deion Sanders is from, which is Lakeland, Florida. Okay, he was ranked number 3 by some scouting recruiting classes, and ESPN had him number 4. They said he was touted as a generational talent with an NFL-ready drive. Okay, he was supposed to go to the University of Miami, and then he went to Deion. This is right after Travis Hunter came to Jackson State the year prior. So what did Cormani McLean do? He had an attitude. He wasn't showing up for workout sessions. He was doing what he wanted to do. He wasn't getting no playing time. And you know what y'all said? Oh yeah, Prime, you need to go ahead on and get rid of him. These little young punks got an attitude. That's what y'all was saying. Cormani.
Now, what the hell this has to do with Shadua Sanders? Your guess is as good as mine, but he's gonna make the reach here. Oh boy, just wait, it's coming.
Cormani McClain took his ass to the University of Florida. Because why? Nobody is bigger than the program. I watched y'all say that. None of y'all condemned Deion Sanders for how Cormani McClain felt he was bigger than the program. They shipped his silly ass over to Florida, and the rest is history. And again, I'm hoping that the young brother gets it together, and what I believe he will be. He had to learn the hard way. Now, in the case of Shedeur Sanders, who handled things wrong in the draft process, nobody argues his talent or his commitment to play quarterback. But see, the difference is that Shedeur has a problem with professionalism, okay? Now,
do y'all hear what this man is saying? Come on now. I know some of y'all might not be the biggest sports fans over here, nor am I, but he just made the statement, Shedeur Sanders has a problem with professionalism. Now, family, can anybody point to me a time where Shedeur Sanders just showed up and just cursed the media out, or, you know, was belligerent or rude to people? Because, see, again, when people make these statements just because the white media say something, I'm always going to be the type of person that come back and say, okay, I heard what you're saying. Now provide me the proof of this allegation that you're making. Now, if you don't come back and show me something tangible, not just what you feel or what white mommy, white daddy told you, I'm white and I say so. Now show me what you're talking about. Where's the unprofessional? Look, I'll tell you what was unprofessional. Unprofessional was when that little goofball, half Asian, half white goofy called that brother there to prank him about, you know, where he was going to fall in the draft. Now, that was unprofessional. I don't hear Oshay talking about that, though. Maybe he did, but I ain't hear him talking about it. See, this is what you got to understand about some of them guys in that Black Manosphere space. They got all the smoke in the world for our people. All the smoke in the world, every critique in the world, but they never have the same smoke for them folks. They never do. They won't acknowledge when systematic racism is taking place against our people, like what happened to Shedeur Sanders, because that's exactly what that was. As many teams that needed a quarterback and you going to wait till the 5th round of draft when he goes 144, that was directed at Coach Prime, man. Anybody with half a brain can see that, and we know why. But yet, remember, according to Oshay, Deion had all this pull where he was supposed to have been trying to bully people to take his son. How? Show again. Provide for me evidence where Deion Sanders would have that type of pull and power in the NFL. Huh? But we finna let him carry on and tell us about all this unprofessional behavior that he says Shedeur has here. I want y'all to listen to what he's about to say.
let me give this to you because you guys are going to say, well, there are other quarterbacks out there that are cocky. Yeah, Cam Ward said, whoever don't draft me, you'll regret it. I had a homeboy named Ontario Smith, came right out of Strawberry Manors. I grew up with the guy. He know me. Ask him. He got drafted in the 4th round, I believe, in the 2002 NFL draft, 2003, and he wrote on the side of his head, SOD, still of the draft. So this is not uncommon for players to feel slighted when they are not drafted. But do you know what Cam Ward did? He interviewed with every team, and there was a consensus that he was a leader and a team player. And when he was asked to do something, he fulfilled what they asked to do. Now, here comes the...
Now, I want you to hear where he's about to go, because Oshay is talking about this like no other players in the NFL have done this. There's plenty of white players that have done what he said, but they only see it when it's black folks, okay? Don't have none of this critique for them folks, okay? Now, see, I'm showing you where this cooning mindset comes into play. Huh? See, you got black people in our community that when them folks come around, that's Master, straighten up. Tuck in your shirt, here you come. You know what I'm saying? I mean, oh boy, they got to be on point. Oh, they follow everything to the letter of the law. They the biggest ones running around reporting stuff to human resources or what have you. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll do all that cooning and buffooning for them folks on these jobs, and then they be the first one out the door. They'll be like, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you did a whole bunch of cooning there, but you going out there with the rest of your black brothers and sisters, huh? That's where you're going. This is what he sounds like. I don't know if he knows this. Perhaps George Macon will have a conversation with him about it. But you gonna hear where we going with this, right? Okay. So I'm gonna let him continue here. Yeah, y'all be the judges. Just wait till you hear this. This is hilarious, but it's sad at the same time.
Other argument from some of you black people out here, you black men. Oh, well, they're trying to buck break them. It's racism. Okay, I'm a pro-black. Okay, I'm a pro-black. So
notice how he always have to say that too. Let's deal with that. Family, let me ask a question for the people over here listening to this live, and let me know on the playback once you catch this. Family, do I run around telling y'all I'm pro-black all the time? Over the years of you, especially my day ones, do I always run around announcing that I'm pro-black? Have you ever heard me say that? I'm pro-black. I'm pro-black. Do I run around telling you I'm black first all the time? You see, the problem with that is if you have to constantly tell somebody what you are, then chances are that's not what you are. It's self-evident. If you're pro anything, it's self-evident. If you black first, it's self-evident. I don't have to run around with a banner and a flag waving it because see, this is the thing. You hear him, if you observe some of his content, he's always saying that. I'm a pro-black. I'm a pro-black. Okay, now here's the thing. If you really are pro-black, why you got to keep telling people? People will be able to see it in your actions. You don't have to run around screaming. But see, when you have the wrong concept of what pro-black is, you think it's a group or a club you can join. This joker spent years when he was openly claiming to be one of the founders of Black Manosphere, because he's one of the three. The pro-blacks this, the pro-blacks that. Oh, just running folks down, cooning and buffooning. Now all of a sudden, I'm pro-black. No, just because you say it doesn't mean that's what you are. Where's your track record of black grassroots activism, huh? Come on now. I'm talking about offline. Because look, I'm giving credit where credit is due. I've seen him over the years host when he was doing a lot of live streams years ago. I've seen him host programs where he would try to get brothers involved in STEM and tech and had different interviews, so I'm going to acknowledge that. However, when it comes to actual black grassroots activism, I got to shout out the younger brothers and sisters that we know out here stomping because, hey, look, everybody know my track record. I always try to give shine to the younger people. My good brother Afro Elite, Black Alpha Network, Sister ZZ out here, okay? Hell, my brother Black Truth United. Each and every one of the younger people that we see actually stomping on the ground out here trying to do their part for the community, where's his resume at? Because now, to be fair, he hasn't been over here for years. He left here and went to med school in Poland. But even then, where's your support for the black grassroots organizations and the movement that you see going on, what we have over here? You notice he don't never do no content in support of what we have going on? Not that we need him to. I simply bring it up to say, hey, you don't hear him doing no content supporting nothing we got going on, but you hear plenty of content critiquing any and everything wrong with black folks. See, when you're a part of something and you try to switch your stripes, so to speak, you can't do it. You got to be what you are. You a Sambo. That's what you are. Look, just because you put lipstick on a pig, it doesn't make the pig pretty, okay? It's still a pig. And unfortunately, a lot of people that respect what he's accomplished, they don't have the heart to tell him that. Because you know what I'm saying? Look, I respect anybody's accomplishments that work hard to get them, and he did. Okay, he definitely got it out the mud as far as getting his medical degree. But I don't respect people that sit there and lie to somebody. They're like, no, brother, you one of the biggest sambos it is. And it's sad because I've given this analogy many times over the years. You never want to be the emperor that has no clothes, where everybody around you is telling you one thing, but in reality, you are nothing like what they're saying. You're not. So you got to understand something. Let's go here. I remember commentary he gave on the Alabama River Brawl. Now, y'all know I famously tore Angry Man a new asshole about that. He was one of the ones, oh, you black people, see, this is what's wrong with black people. Like, we supposed to accept abuse. Now, anybody that remember what happened that August 5th, the Alabama River Brawl down there, shout out to our brothers and sisters in Alabama. A bunch of white supremacists jumped an elderly black man that didn't put his hands on nobody, that was just trying to do his job. They jumped this man. They could have killed this brother, an elderly man, 5, 6 people at a time. And then because other black people were like, oh, hell no, and came to this brother's rescue, you got Sambos up here. Think about it. How you going to be pro-black and critique that? What could you find fault with us defending and protecting the actual elders in our community for just doing their job? But him and Angry Man and others, they had a problem with that. And it's been many other situations. So again, I'm making people think. So you know me, I'll be the bad guy. I'll make you think. When somebody tell you that, hey, I'm pro-black or this, that, the third, start looking at where they stand on things. Because you can't be pro-black and then be against the community when justice is being produced. But see, a Sambo think we supposed to just take abuse. I'm just saying, man. So, we're going to let it continue. He's about to tell us why he has all these grievances against Shedeur Sanders. Remember now, just said it. He's pro-black. Let it continue.
So I understand that there is racism, especially at quarterbacks in the NFL. We know that, okay? But now, hold on one second. I want to talk about the quarterbacks, the black quarterbacks that have been drafted number 1 or number 2 in just the last few years, okay? We can start with Cam Newton, 2011 NFL draft, round 1, pick number 1. Cam Newton is nobody's punk, all right? We can go with Robert Griffin, the third, 2012.
Now, you listen to who he's giving praise to. RG3 now. Come on now. Do I even have to see it? Look, this is another thing too, because a lot of younger people get confused. When you have somebody running around talking, I'm pro-black, I'm pro-black, look at the people they give praise to. And for those that don't know, he loves to give praise to Thomas Sowell. He was one of Pearly Things' biggest cheerleaders. This is documented history. I ain't got to make nothing up on nobody. Y'all know I don't do that. And now here he is praising RG3. Big old super sambozo bedbug. See, if you look at what somebody professes to believe in and then their ideology does not match what they're telling you, Houston, we have a problem. No, you be like, hey, man, this can't go over here with that. No, there's no way to be pro-black and coon at the same time. There's no fence straddling. Okay, now, all the people that respect him, that won't tell him that, hey, that's their problem. The rest of us over in the black grassroots, think about it, right? Let me show you why this is such a serious thing before we let him continue. If we out here stumping for reparations, if we trying to get, reparations legislation passed or anti-black hate crime bill or whatever, and everybody's on the same page as far as trying to push the message to get that, let's just say we're in a hearing, okay, before Congress, and we're speaking about why we should have reparations. Then you have one contrarian Sambo get up, we don't need no reparations. We need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. It's a handout. We shouldn't be begging. This is what Negroes like that will do. But yet we'll tell you they pro-black. Huh? Yeah, I'm going there. Yeah, I'm going to make you think over here. Let's let it continue.
Went number 2 to the Redskins. E.J. Manuel, 2013. Round 1, pick number 16 to the Bills. Teddy Bridgewater, round 1, pick 32 to the Vikings. 2014. Jameis Winston, 2015. Number 1 pick overall. Number 1, Deshaun Watson, 2017. Round 1, pick 12. Patrick Mahomes, 2017. Round 1, pick 10. Lamar Jackson, 2018. Round 1, pick 32.
I want you to listen to this roll call that he's giving, because when he's done, I'm going to point out what the difference is between all them quarterbacks that he's naming and Shedeur Sanders. Intelligent people already see what it is, but I'm going to definitely thread the needle when he's done.
Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. 2019, round 1, pick 15, Kyler Murray. Round 1, pick number 1 overall pick, okay? Justin Fields. Round 1, pick 11, Trey Lance. 2021, round 1, pick 3, Anthony Richardson, who's been struggling lately. 2023, round 1, pick number 4, CJ Stroud. 2023, round 1, pick number 2, Bryce Young. 2023, round 1, pick 1. So let's look at it. 2023 NFL draft, Bryce Young goes number 1, CJ Stroud goes number 2, Anthony Richardson goes number 4. 3 black quarterbacks taken in the first 4 picks. Michael Penix last year, 2024, round 1, pick number 8, Jaden Daniels. 2024, round 1, pick number 2, Caleb Williams. 2024, round 1, pick number 1, and then Cam Ward this year in this draft, round 1, pick number 1. So what you is not gonna tell me is that it's racist. You're not gonna tell.
Oh boy, you hear how hyped up? You ain't gonna tell me that it's racist. Oh, you ain't gonna tell me that. I refuse to leave. Oh, ultra raging Sambo. Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you that it's racist, Oshay, and I'm gonna break it down. 1, three things here. We're going to do three things to let you know there definitely was anti-black racism. I already said, hey, they did that to stick it to Deion Sanders, okay, because they wasn't able to do anything with him since he's retired out the league. Hey, we're going to get this payback on your son. Number two, all them quarterbacks that he named, they don't have a famous, legendary NFL player like Deion Sanders to be their father. And number three, them players that he named don't come from a wealthy family like Deion Sanders' son, Shador. There you go. Three reasons right there why it definitely is racism, Oshay. But see, when you're not the type of person that's around your people or connected to the grassroots enough and well studied enough on the system of racism and white supremacy, because you spent so many years talking about ain't no white supremacy, people need to stop begging, stop blaming the white man and making little jokes about racism and white supremacy. That's another thing. Nobody can be pro-black and make jokes about the system of racism and white supremacy. Where the fuck do we do that over here in black grassroots spaces? Have y'all ever heard me make jokes about white supremacy and racism as if it don't exist? The white man holding me back. Look, I can show y'all little songs he done put together. Him and the rest of them sambos over there, you know, making jokes about racism and white supremacy. A life or death matter for our people. Yet he gonna tell you he pro-black now. See, the Coon Millionaire Act don't work on those of us that were around long enough to see the beginnings and origins of things. You can't fool me. You name any content creator on this platform that's well known, and I can tell you where they got their start, especially if they switched up their rhetoric. Even Cynthia G. Okay? I remember, believe it or not, this is going to shock the hell out of y'all, but you can verify this. Cynthia G used to be one of the most pro-black sounding people ever in your life that you ever heard. Oh, albino devils and all this other stuff. And then when the switch came in, y'all probably remember the legendary broadcast where Brother Tariq Nasheed roasted the shit out of her ass. And ever since then, oh, it's all black men ain't shit. Oh boy, black men, black men, black men, black men, these black men, black men, black men. Huh? So see, you know, brothers like me, man, look, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying what I know because I've been around these spaces so long. All you got to do is ask me. I'm an encyclopedia on it. I can give you chapter and verse, and you can say, okay, I heard what you're saying, brother. Let me do my research to see what you're saying match up, and it's going to match up every time. I don't have no reason to lie on these people. So now I just gave you the three reasons why it definitely is racism and white supremacy, why he's like, you're not going to tell me that it's race. Look, see, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson spoke on this when she was living, and you can find this in the ISIS papers as well. When you're afraid of something, the best way to deal with that is not to deny that you're afraid of it. Go ahead and admit it so you can confront that for what it is and deal with it. Once you confront that for what it is and you start to deal with it and find solutions to that problem, then, hey, you can make headway. But if you don't acknowledge that fear, what you do, you turn that towards your own people because that's a coping mechanism for you. In other words, I'm afraid to go after the white supremacists, so I'll turn this on my own people. Oh, I know I can't beat these white supremacists. You Negroes this way, y'all did this. See, look, I'm giving you this analogy. The people that get the cooning and buffooning, your Jesse Lee Petersons, your Larry Elders, your Oshay Duke Jacksons, and all the rest of them, that's the equivalent of if a white person punches you in the face hard enough to draw blood and knock you off your feet, flat on your ass. Then you get up, the person is standing there that hit you right in front of your face, and you run around the corner and go sock a black person that didn't have nothing to do with that. That's the type of cowardice that you hear on display here. So when you hear him all amped up yelling like this, he knows he's wrong because that comment section lit his ass up, okay? And he wasn't able to argue with it, so the best he could do, let me come back and gaslight and try to tell you the problem is you. Because see, when you have a warped sense of view and you detach from your people to the point that you can't relate to any of us at all as far as what's going on in the black grassroots, you will develop this type of mindset. And see, here's why it's not a benign or harmless thing. Racism and white supremacy is a life or death issue for black people over here in America. Even if you're out in the world, in the global system of white supremacy, you can lie to yourself saying it doesn't exist until you run into real white supremacists that have intentions to harm you. Then what is that cooning and buffooning and denying reality going to do for you? Not a damn thing, but place you and others around you in jeopardy. Let's let it continue.
Tell me it's racist. It's bug breaking because all of these guys got attitudes. All these guys got swag. All of them. You got to have swag to play quarterback. But you know what they did? They all interviewed great. They interviewed with every NFL team. Even if they knew they wasn't going to go to that team, they interviewed well with them. What did Shador do? The opposite. Because Shador Sanders wanted to do whatever he felt like doing. And because you love Deion, because you love Shador, y'all want to say it's racism or buck breaking. They don't want the black man to be himself. No, you can be.
Let me point this out as well, okay? Because I'm one of the content creators that try to educate my audience on things that are behind the veil, so to speak, okay? And a lot of people don't catch little slights that people try to make in a microaggressive manner. You notice he's taking shots at Brother Tariq, okay? Let me just go ahead and make that clear, because he's using that terminology, all right? And a lot of brothers and sisters over there that, will watch multiple platforms. I don't tell nobody who to watch or not to watch. But a lot of people from our lineage watch him because he's funny. Watch Oshay because he's funny to them. And a lot of them will be in and out of Brother Tariq spaces. They'll be in and out of Jason Black spaces. None of them going over to Professor Black Truth. Now, that's one place they're not going to go, okay? They'll hover back. Look, let's break this down. Let me make sure y'all got a clear understanding of how people from the Black manosphere waffle in and out of new Black media spaces. They will waffle in and out of Brother Tariq spaces because Brother Tariq is articulate. He's funny, okay? And the biggest draw for a lot of Black manosphere guys, what a lot of y'all probably don't know, that whole Black manosphere space, the pickup artists, all of that, Brother Tariq was doing that long before that came into existence and had best-selling books on that back when he used to do the Mac Lessons podcast, okay? Now, I'm finna thread a needle for you. This is going to make sense the next time you listen to my Brother Tariq spaces, okay? A lot of them, you can tell they from the Black manosphere because if Brother Tariq is doing the space and we talking about reparations, current events, or what have you, here's what they do. Tariq, you remember you had did the Mac lesson? I'm like, how could he forget it? The man is the author of the content. How could he forget it? He wrote books on it. You remember you had did the Mac lessons? Now, we ain't talking about that at all. That's a great body of work. It's very useful to Black men. And I would suggest that you give that to your Black sons. If you're a Black mother to sons, okay, it's very helpful information. I have the books myself. But when you have people focus on something in present day, going back to a different time period, because if you look at Brother Tariq, that brother has evolved so far beyond that. This brother has evolved into a family man, Black grassroots activist, doing major things for our people, doing his part. So a lot of people that have a state of arrested development, they have not progressed with Brother Tariq, okay? And you hear Brother Tariq, he acknowledges it, but he's like, yeah, man, we focus on other things right now, So I'm just letting you know how you can tell when a lot of them are waffling over to the Black manosphere to that, because bottom line, in case you hadn't caught it, they love any content. Pay attention. They love any content where we're critiquing women, okay? And look, if we're doing it in good faith, that has its usefulness and its relevancy. However, what they don't like is any content that say, okay, yeah, we talked about the women. Now let's talk about what we need to do as Black men to get that together. No, I ain't trying to hear none of that. So now, in like mine, when Jason Black does the business broadcast, they gonna stay over there. Now, only he can answer that. Maybe he's trying to court that audience. That's his business, but I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of them guys over there in that Black manosphere space, they too far gone to reach. Because if you in a space that has phrases like burn the community down and you just critiquing Black women, I've shown you examples right here on Patreon. They got movements, SYSBM, don't date no Black women, they evil, they this, that, the third. Save yourself, Black man is what SYSBM stands for, okay? By the way, that was started by a British tether, okay? When you got them that have a hatred for Black women because of what happened to them in high school and college or what have you, that they're willing to side with white supremacists like the Myron Gaines, you can't do nothing with that. There's no reform in that. Now, people can do whatever they want. Man, if that's what Jason Black is trying to do, that's his prerogative. But I'm here to tell you from somebody that's observed that space over years. I ain't telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. You cannot build with anybody like that in Black grassroots America where you having Black men and Black women trying to be on code working together. Because one, they don't believe the system of racism and white supremacy exists. And number two, they don't think that we're supposed to work together with our women. And a lot of that on their end is because they haven't built themselves up to be respectable men. I'm not saying that all of our women are saints. I'm not. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to sit here and put all black women into a category that doesn't fit them. They don't ever make distinction between our solid sisters and our sisters that are ratchets like Sexy Red or Sukihana Glorilla. Now, they want to put all black women in the same boat. Notice you'll hear this little term like the B-dub. If you hear them saying that or typing B-dub in the chat room, you're dealing with a black minister flunky, okay? We just got to call it what it is. See, I don't sugarcoat shit. I tell the truth, all right? Or I tell the truth, because I don't have no reason to lie. I want my people to be well informed about who's waffling in and out of these spaces. So now, like I said, that's the reason why they'll come to Brother Therese. They remember the Mac lessons. Then they're going to stay over to Jason Black's The Business Channel. And I guarantee you, them same people that waffle over there, they never going to be on the Black Authority channel where he talks about news and the current events. They ain't coming over there, which is why you will never find them digesting anything Professor Black Truth says. They ain't going to do that. Y'all probably remember this broadcast where, because this is a younger guy that's a content creator in the Black Manosphere space. He's one of Angry Man's little fanboys. I know a guy named the Grinch. Okay, we've been on cordial terms, but you remember he came into my live stream. This was like about a year or so ago, trying to tell me that Professor Black Truth advocated for selling drugs, and I'm like, wait a minute, you ain't heard nobody advocate for that. The closest to that statement you can make is saying Jason Black said, okay, if we're gonna do it, I'd rather us be in control of it. He never said, I'm going to advocate to sell drugs. Now, that's what Jason Black said. Professor Black Truth has never said anything close to that. You cannot produce any audio where Professor Black Truth said, yeah, I advocate for our people to sell drugs. That's what Grinch tried to argue me down. I'm like, brother. No, I've been listening to Professor Black Truth for the last 15 plus years. Damn near from when he had his first broadcast on YouTube when him and Jason used to do broadcasts together. That's how far back I go with it. So you know who you're talking to. Huh? I told him, I said, produce the broadcast. Show me where that's at. No, you ain't. No. See, these jokers, man, they have so much to say. And they think they know what they're talking about because they get things misconstrued and they half-ass listen. And the sad thing about that dude, Grinch, he be drunk all the time. There's plenty of content on YouTube where he be on. You got to say to Black YouTube where back in the day, people used to start these streams and there used to be a bunch of panels back in the day when YouTube had what was that called? YouTube something. You know what I'm saying? Because it was integrated into YouTube Hangouts. Yeah, Hangouts where you can start live streams and everybody be up there just damn near like Clubhouse. A bunch of unproductive conversations, people getting on there drunk, just talking stupid shit. Grinch comes from that category, like a lot of them. Okay. So, when you have people that are inebriated, they think they heard one thing, you be like, no, I'm trying to tell you didn't hear that because you can't produce that. I even told Grinch, I said, look, man, if you can produce Professor Black Truth saying that, I will give you $1,000. I will pay you on it. And y'all know if I make a claim like that, I'll keep my word. I have no problem. Produce that audio for me. You can't do it because it doesn't exist. The man has never said that. Oh, but he tried to argue me down because I was, tearing Angry Man, his YouTube stepdaddy. I was tearing Angry Man's ass up by that coon and buffoon he does. And, they have these little cheerleaders where if you get on their YouTube daddies, here they come. And I'm like, if you're going to argue with me, you better have your facts straight because I know what I'm talking about. But, I digress. That type of cooning and buffooning, like I said, you're not going to reform nobody that's over there in those spaces that think like that. That's just not going to happen. Anybody thinking they can, they in for a rude awakening. That's just not going to happen. Because all you got to do, the acid test will be, okay, if you think that you can reform them, let it be something that come time for black men and black women to work together. Oh, now they ain't trying to have no part of that. Because they hate half of the damn community. And it's vice versa for the divestment dummies. See, over here, we don't do that. We have sense enough to know that black men and black women are going to need each other. So we don't have no business working against each other. You understand? So, this is just the context on this whole thing here. But see, we going to get back to Oshay, telling us how much of an unprofessional Shedeur Sanders is and, how he did things so wrong and he's just not on the Yassa boss mindset. Because, see, you need to understand when people have these types of convictions like this, what he's doing is projecting the behavior that he has engaged in over the years. And look, Yes, it's true. If you working for somebody else in their company, you do have to follow certain rules, but that don't mean you have to lose your damn manhood and turn into a book that's an ass kissing Sambo. Nah, you can do your job and do it well without doing that. And see, that's the thing about the Sambos and the Sambets. They don't understand that you can do exactly what I said without, you know what I'm saying, breaking any rules or what have you. But they think, okay, because I don't have the courage to do this, something is wrong with you because you won't sit here and bow and scrape and don't look master in the eye when you walk by. Something's wrong with you because you have the integrity and the courage to do that. I want y'all to understand that's where that's coming from. I'm going to let him continue with his cooning, though. Let's let it continue.
Yourself in your own business. Okay? You want to be yourself? Start your own business. Start your own brand. And he got his own brand. Too bad his brand ain't playing football, and we can even go back past that. Vince Young went 2006 NFL draft, round 1, pick 3. Jamarcus Russell, 2007 NFL round 1, pick 1. Okay? These are guys who have been selected all black. Ain't no buck breaking here. It's that they did what they were told. But Shador.
Oh, did you hear that? They did what they were told. They did what they were told. You remember that? Yassa boss. Yassa, we sick boss. Let me tell y'all something. I'm not the first person that has spoken on this, but myself, Brother Tariq, and many others have said this. The NFL, the NBA, and whatever these other sports leagues or what have you, they love the black players that come from a single parent household, usually a single mother household. They love them coming from poor backgrounds, and they love them being inarticulate and vulnerable and impressionable. Shador Sanders is none of those things, okay? He comes from a wealthy family. His dad has gained him up on what to expect in the NFL from the standpoint of him being a retired player, okay? And he's not somebody that's looking for a white father figures. You see them other people that Oshay named, with the exception of Patrick Mahomes, who's half white, they don't fit that description I just gave to y'all. You understand where I'm coming from? See, when you short-sighted and you think you're so much smarter than everybody else, you miss what I just said. And see, Oshay couldn't grasp what I just said. Nobody's told him that, and he don't have common sense enough to see what I just said. And see, notice, I don't go back and forth with people like that. I don't argue about it. What I will do is if you get the cooning like this, I will use this as a teaching tool for my people. You better understand, I adhere to what one of our great grandmaster teachers said. I only debate my equals, all others I teach. Okay? And I mean that. I will not waste my time arguing with a Sambo. Because a lot of people, why don't you debate this on for what? What am I going to debate a Sambo for? You're not going to change their mind on nothing. They've made up their mind that this is the side of the fence that they're going to stay on. And cool, we're going to make sure they keep that same energy too. No problem. Now, in the era of delineation, where you lay is where you stay. You can't come back over here like Halle Berry did in that movie. Ah, Negra. Okay, cool, bet. Now get back over there with Mouse and them, because you thought you were one of them. That's where we at with it now. So let it continue.
Sanders, when Brian DeBall asked him to go up to the whiteboard and explain coverages, he wasn't ready, had an attitude because he's soft. Like so many young black men out here, YN soft. Want to do what you want to do and expect to get results soft. I don't come from that era. I come from the era was somebody tell you to do something and they have authority over you. You get your ass up there and you do it because you need the job.
Do y'all hear how he sound? You get your ass up there and do it, boy. I would love for him to produce this footage too. And if any of y'all know what he's talking about, let me know so that I can review it. I would love for him to produce this footage of Shador Sanders not going up to a whiteboard and not explaining things and having an attitude. I'm going to tell you how I know it doesn't exist like he's talking about. If Shador Sanders came up there and said, hey, man, fuck this whiteboard, I ain't doing none of that, that would be blasted around ESPN. That would be the talk of the town. We would never hear the end of that. So where's this so-called attitude? But y'all let me know if you can find this footage. I want to see this. So I want to see what constitutes an attitude to him. Because see, to a Sambo, what an attitude is anybody that ain't looking down at the floor when Mouse is talking, you better do what you're told. Do you hear this? Oh, this is a pro-black, though. This is what he claims he's pro-black. I ain't never heard nobody pro-black talking like this. This is Sambo behavior. Let's let it continue.
You need the opportunity. Everything ain't racism in black America. Everything ain't the white man want to buck break you. That's the excuse for every time a black man don't want to do what he's supposed to do to get his ass in the position he need to be. We all.
Okay, let's deal with that. You're right. Every situation in Black America is not anti-Black racism or white supremacy. But because we do acknowledge it and we recognize it for what it is, you're not going to shame us for calling that out just because you don't see it. See, that's a flaw you have. You can't recognize when something is butt breaking or anti-Black racism. That's a you problem. Because you see, this is another reason why cooning is not harmful. You have a lot of women that hang out in them Black manosphere spaces, and I'm gonna name a couple of names. You got your Melanie Kings, okay? I already named Pearly Things, okay? You got several other content creators that I don't have an issue or problem with. They kind of latched onto them spaces. Danica Marie was one of them, okay? Then let's see. I'm leaving somebody out here. I know I am. Let's see. And I don't have no problem with these people. I'm just speaking facts so y'all get the context of things. The sister Kendra D, notice I said D, not G, not the one with the dating show. Kendra D, okay? That goes by the Crimson Cure. She used to hang out with Angry Man over there in all them spaces. So what I'm saying is you got a lot of women that'll be in those spaces and they'll be amening and going along with that because what they do, they follow popularity. They don't really, and you notice this, a lot of the women that you see over there and them supporting them and them sambos in those spaces, they just go over there due to somebody's popularity. They don't never challenge the ideology and say, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. That doesn't make any sense. And look, we got to go here. In them Black manosphere spaces, there's a lot of non-Black women that hang over there just to listen to them run down Black women, okay? I'm not going to act like I don't know that. See, when people say, well, man, why you don't agree with that? Because I know what I see in their chat rooms. Can't nobody tell me what I've seen over the years. I know this, okay? I know this. So, I mean, like, you know, he's in here carrying on and ranting and raving. I'm like, okay, Oshay, you got all this to say about Shedeur Sanders, but you didn't present no evidence of this attitude that you keep talking about. You just saying it from your point of view. See, y'all notice one thing that I do with my presentations. Whatever I tell you, I try to give you an audio and a visual of it so that you can see whether you agree or disagree. I don't never just say something like I told y'all on X, where you see these accounts that just post a picture and then they put their own narrative over it with no verifiable source. I told y'all about believing that stuff, and I try to make sure I never do content that way, where I just give y'all my take on something without showing you in detail what I'm talking about. Okay? So, you know, he can't provide any evidence of this harsh attitude that Shedeur has. You just keep talking about it. Why? Because you just going what the white media tells you. And you too silly to recognize anti-Black racism because when you spend years saying it doesn't exist, which is why it's not harmful or not harmless, you actually start to believe that. See, even if he was over here in America and he started to come around the Black grassroots, he would be out of place because nobody would support that type of cooning. Now, of course, he ain't gonna come around no Black grassroots people like that because he know that. He can say I'm pro-Black all he want and fool as many people as he want, but if you put these people in spaces with Brother Greg Marcel Dixon, Brother Tariq, myself, Black Alpha, okay, Afro Elite, anybody you want to name, Sister Vicky Dillard, okay, they not gonna be Brother Philip Scott, okay, they not gonna be able to gel with us because they gonna have them core coon values, okay? Y'all got to go there. He's got core coon values that don't switch overnight just because you tell people you pro-Black. A pro-Black person does not have this type of stance. I'm not saying that you can't have a critique, but you just denying what we clearly seen was anti-Black racism practiced in a systematic form. Yeah, but you know, hey, they'll argue you down that that's not what it is, though. Let's let it continue.
I gotta play that game. I'm here in Uganda, okay? When I wanna do things here, I gotta humble myself in the private sector. I gotta do what people are asking me to do. It don't matter what I did in YouTube or I'm an American citizen or I got this. It doesn't matter. I do what I'm supposed to do to win the job, period. But with y'all, because it's Deion's son, I love Deion. See, the thing is, Deion can't save his son's ass. So he's supposed to be disrespectful to the people that want to give him a job. And it must be evident because all the teams passed on him. Even Black coaches like Mike Tomlin didn't want to.
Now, listen to where he's about to go, okay? He said, well, it must be evident because all the teams passed on him. Okay, let's go with that. See, I'm going to debunk this bullshit. This is why people like that don't talk to me. Let me tell you something. If this was so-called self-evident, you trying to tell me that it's not likely that most of those white team owners got together and said, we going to teach Deion a lesson and make his son come in far lower than him? Because, see, let's look at the flip side from those of us that understand racism and systematic white supremacy. Do you really think that they would want Deion's son to come in and place as high in the draft as Deion did when he came in? And you know what I'm saying? That continues a black family dynasty of great athletes. See, you better look at the optics of this. This is something that Oshay is short-sighted and can't do. Look at the optics of what that would have been if Shedeur Sanders would have went number 1 or 2 in the draft. Continuing black excellence that he earned. Oh, but no, it could never be collusion according to Oshay. Oh, no, couldn't be no collusion. Oh, no, it's all Shedeur's fault. Do you see how cowardly that is? When you see in front of your face the system operating against one of our people, and then you're going to turn around and blame the victim of the system? Oh, yeah, but see, you know, he's pro-black, though. And watch where he's about to go with the black coaches. Let's let it continue.
Take him, and they need a quarterback because Shedeur is a problem. That's what it is. He's a problem. And nobody in any corporate sector or any business wants to deal with a problem. And if they're going to deal with a problem, your talent got to be better than your problem. And we're going to be honest here. Shedeur Sanders is a good quarterback. He is not a great quarterback. This is not Michael Vick we're talking about here, okay? He's not Jaden Daniels. He's not Caleb Williams. He don't have extreme.
Let me deal with the issue he made there about Mike Tomlin not taking him, okay? In the NFL, even the black offensive coach coordinators, defensive, whatever, or head coaches that have been black. Don't you know what kind of cooning they got to do to get to that position and keep it? So just because Mike Tomlin passed on him and he's black, that doesn't mean that he's on code. No, he's just another Negro happy to be there. You better go, look, let me tell y'all something. You know, we read over here. You better go get the book $40 Million Slaves. Read that book cover to cover. A lot will make sense. In case anybody like, oh, brother, I don't know about it. No, go read that book $40 Million Slaves. You're going to see why I'm telling you that if you go and pick that book up and read it cover to cover. So see, when it comes to all this cooning and buffooning Oshay doing here, and oh, he's just such a problem. Okay, well, show us. Look, he would have had, this video would have had a stronger position with his point of view if he would have said, okay, I say Shedeur Sanders is a problem, blah, blah, blah. Here's examples of why. You notice everybody saying that about Shedeur Sanders can't do what I just said? Y'all know me. Over the years, if I tell you, hey, XYZ is a problem, you know what the next thing I'm going to do when I present something to you in a live stream? I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Have I not been known to do that? Since my channel has been started, everything. You go down my archives to my first doggone video, I'm showing you what I'm talking about. Anytime I address an issue, I don't ever just say something and be like, yeah, because I said so. No. Here's why I'm telling you that. Here's an example. Here's several examples of it. To the point where y'all notice this about me. Even when the more well-known celebrities, I've had to go toe-to-toe with them, or well-known content creators, the Tommy Sotomayers, the Sadat X's, the Roland Martins, the Jason Whitlocks. There's been several of them. Y'all notice one pattern that if they ever mention my name or try to go back and forth with me on any platform, after I really light their ass up, you notice they don't say my name no more? That's not me being braggadocious. There's a reason, because they know I can roast with the best of them, but when I put that shit up and say, okay, no more fun and games, let's get down to brass tacks and the facts. Oh, that's not fun no more then. Oh, no. They shut up. They be like, don't you. Look, I am he who shall not be named. You better understand that about me. I know it's not like I'm tooting my own horn, but look, there have been people that go in spaces and mention my name, but hey, don't say that. He is he who shall not be named. Because if you make a claim against me, it would be one thing if I just decide to roast you. But people know if I say, okay, never mind the roasting, let's get down to the facts of what you're saying and let's see if this true or false. They were like, oh, no. You can't play that game with that Negro, because I'm going to hit you with nothing but the facts. You understand? So, hey, there's a reason why he who shall not be named. They're like, oh, no, don't do that. All of them, they know. They'll talk that shit, but they're like, you see, they ain't trying to go back and forth with me like that. That's been men, women, tethers, white supremacists. They're like, you don't want no problems over here. Because I'm going to thoroughly embarrass you in a way where I break it down from the arrow to the zero. Where the only thing that somebody going to be able to do is say, I don't like his ass, but he did not tell a lie. And he verified everything that he said about you. That's the way I get down. Just let it continue.
Arm talent. He's not that guy. He's not a Terrell Owens as a quarterback. I know Terrell Owens played wide receiver. We can deal with your problems if you Terrell Owens, and even Terrell Owens ain't come in the league like that. He's not Aaron Rodgers. You got your NFL draft things legendary. Legendary doing what? You ain't played a game in the NFL. Your daddy is legendary. You not a legendary.
Okay, now see, remember what I told you about these types of nerd-like people being envious or jealous of jocks that have talent and people that are athletically gifted. Here's what makes sense. First of all, it's true. He hasn't played a game in the NFL. He can say he's legendary, though, in the sense that he comes from a legendary bloodline as far as athletics, his father. Now, if you're trying to, he would have sounded more intelligent if you said, okay, your father's legendary, but you have yet to prove yourself. I don't have a problem with Shedeur Sanders typing that hashtag saying legendary, because you know what that's called? And let's be clear, white boys come out and make statements like that all the time. You don't see nobody, especially these Negroes in the black manosphere, making a big deal out of that. It's healthy for you to have confidence in yourself. You ain't supposed to come in there, well, I think I'm kind of all right. What did Muhammad Ali say when he was boxing? Did he say, I'm kind of good? Did he say, hey, man, I'm a little bit all right? I might be. No, he said, I am the greatest. And he backed it up. You understand? So now a statement that Oshay could have made was said, hey, man, if you're going to say you legendary, all right, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And see, I'm going to tell you what I like about that, because this is why this is acceptable. If you are a person with whatever skill set you have and you go out there before people have a chance to see how good you are and how well you honed your craft, and you say, hey, man, I'm legendary at what I do. I'm one of the best in whatever it is you choose to do. I like that, because you putting pressure on yourself to perform up to a standard. You see what I'm saying? And he didn't call nobody no name. He was talking about himself. He said, hey, hashtag legendary. So now the only thing that you can say is say, okay, brother, you said you legendary. Hey, sometimes you get on that field now. Hey, we got to see what you're talking about. No, Oshay didn't say, nah, you're not legendary. Your father is. You better understand when somebody's talking past a legitimate critique and they basically have a hatred for somebody that they know they don't have the same talent as. Because, see, a lot of people get this misconstrued about the nerd class, okay? A lot of people tend to think, okay, well, if they're talented in academics or they're gifted as far as like being very articulate, well-spoken, well-knowledgeable on several subjects, being polymaths, etc. A lot of people tend to think, oh, they don't care nothing about being athletically gifted. Wrong, because that's something that no matter how much book knowledge they have, they look at it as that, okay, that's something that all my book knowledge and academic, wherewithal cannot grant me. I'll still never get the same respect as the athletically gifted brother or sister, okay? You better understand how this envy works, because it's veiled behind things, making it look like you having a good faith critique of something. No, it's not. I see right through it. See, that's the blessing about becoming older. If you're the type of person that is constantly learning and you paying attention, you can see through stuff like this the minute that people start this up, whether it's a man or a woman doing it. So I just want to be clear about where this is all coming from, and notice how hyped up he is about it. The tone. This is not him being angry at people in the comment section. No. This is him going back to that childhood when people probably gave his ass the business, because, you got to be honest. I'm not trying to be funny. He got a tough looking face. He done had that for quite some time. I've heard him say out of his own mouth how people used to tease him about how he look, okay? This is where that's coming from, and I hate that happened to him. I'm not... you should never, make fun of somebody, because kids gonna be kids. Let's just be honest. But you should never make fun of somebody about something they can't help in a malicious way. Because, like, y'all know when I get on Fat Boy Flacco, I only take that so far. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's somebody that has some type of serious disability or something like that, you would never see me make fun of nobody like that. Nope. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that. For example, with Sadat X, I was getting on him because something could be done about that grill of his. And look, I even offered to pay for that. Y'all might have thought I was bullshitting. If he would have did what I asked him to do and gave me the list of the other so-called legendary rappers that feel the same way, I would have shown y'all proof. Here, I'm sending you the money to get your teeth fixed. Now, whether you do it or not, you can't say I didn't send you the money. I would have done it, okay? I stand by something when I see it, okay? So I just want y'all to know I have my boundaries when it comes to roasting and joking on people. So bottom line, if you somebody like Oshay and you never got over that, hey, man, you can't go and take that out on the rest of the community because of something that happened to you during your childhood. Let's let it continue.
Arch Manning, who his uncle is Peyton Manning. His uncle is Eli Manning. What do you see him acting like over at Texas? Not like that. Lamar Jackson don't even have that attitude.
Not like what? You haven't shown us any proof of how he's acting. Where's the proof? Show us what he's acting like. For the love of God, can anybody do it? Damn.
Now he's a 3-time league MVP. So how has Shador got a better attitude than Lamar Jackson, somebody he's not even on the same level or planet with as a player? Because you earn what you get in this life. That's how you get it, by
You definitely do earn what you get what you earn in life. You definitely do get what you earn. That's very true. I've had to earn a great many things in my lifetime, but just because that's a true statement, that doesn't mean you have to be some humble, doubled over, broken Sambo. For example, like the movie The Blind Side. That's what all them white folks want us to be like. If we're athletically gifted, talented, and notice this phrase that you remember Laura Ingraham, and I'm not a big LeBron Cape fan or whatever. I've critiqued him over the years for his Samboish behavior. But notice that Laura Ingraham and the rest of them all just shut up and dribble. Or you hear this phrase, oh, you should be grateful. They say that a lot to athletes. Anybody, any wealthy black, oh, you should be grateful. Grateful for what, motherfucker? Well, grateful for what? Because just to even get that opportunity, even with gifted natural talent, you still have to work twice as hard as your white counterparts to be considered to get into these sports leagues, huh? Grateful. Man, don't y'all never let nobody run it on. I'm gonna let him wrap up his cooning.
Doing something right. Actually, he's a 2-time MVP. So you're not gonna go into a billionaire's corporation.
Look how he just slighted Shador Sanders' accomplishment. So he's a 2-time MVP. So now, do y'all see where that's coming from, a place of envy and jealousy? Right here in this stream, you can call me on this. Regardless of what other people have said about Oshay, did I or did I not run down the truth about his accomplishments, and did I ever try to take away from him? I corrected misnomers that y'all probably have heard. Oh, he ain't FBA. Yes, he is. Oh, he didn't graduate medical school. Yes, he did. Because I know it for a fact. That's one thing you can count on about me. Just because I have an ideological difference with somebody, or even if it's somebody I don't sell horses with, like we say in the South, we don't get along. I'm not going to lie on you. Now, that's one of the reasons people are wondering why I have the respect and people speak of me the way they do is because of that. That's consistent about me. I'm not going to make up no lies on nobody. Right here in this stream, you see, I ain't lying on Oshay no kind of way. Everything I said about him in that space can be verified. You can do your own research. But him, he sits here and just belittles Shador Sanders. So I'm like, wow, really? That's how you gonna talk about this brother's accomplishment? So what? That don't matter. Boy, that Yassa boss mindset, man. Couldn't be me, man. So let it continue.
This over with, guys. Have your funky ass attitude and expect somebody gonna draft you. Because billionaires got egos too. And again, for those of you who don't know own the business, you don't want no employee in your business and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You're not gonna want that. You're not going to want that. Let's just be honest, family. And Shador messed up. Nobody hating on the guy. It's too many black men out here with that attitude, and then you wonder why a lot of black men ain't successful. I hate to say it, man, but a lot of black men got this attitude. Oh, they bug breaking me. Hey, ain't nobody hating on you. You hating on yourself. Then when you don't get to where you're supposed to be, it's the white man's fault. Ain't the white man's fault. He asked you to go do something. Why didn't you do it? The Detroit Lions.
Again, for the love of flying kittens, okay? For the love of flying kittens. For the love of unicorns that fart Skittles out their ass. Could you please show us what he was supposed to do that he didn't do that got your panties all in a bunch to the point you just running Shador Sanders down? Can you provide one clip of it? Can you please show us What is this thing that he just didn't do that just makes him, oh my God, he's the worst player ever? Oh, can you show me where is it? Because y'all know if this was me making a critique of Shedeur Sanders, I would have shown you several examples. Okay, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what he didn't do here. This is why I have an issue with this. This is a problem. This is what is going to get him into trouble. I would have broken this down chapter and verse where y'all be like, oh, okay, brother. I may not agree with what you're saying, but I see what you're talking about. Not one example have you seen of him showing us, oh, this egregious behavior that Shedeur Sanders has engaged in. Where's this attitude at? Just can't see it. But what it is, you can't show it. What you are doing is showing that you one of the biggest coons out here because you're going with what white folks have said about him. Now, compare and contrast this. The Sambos that's in ESPN and a lot of retired players, all of them was making all that noise about that strong-faced John Cena clone, Caitlin Clark. Oh, she's great. She's this, she's that. Okay, now coming out of high school, you ain't win no championships. Regardless of the crazy behavior Angel Reese got going on right now, Angel Reese was a champion, okay? Yeah, in college, what have you. I mean, no championships, but she's the greatest all of a sudden. Caitlin Clark is average at best. Rest in power to the late, great Kevin Samuels. Yes, I'm going to borrow your phrase, brother. Caitlin Clark is average not only in the face at best, and I'm being polite when I say that, she's average on the court. How the hell you gonna be the greatest with no goddamn championships to show for it? And I guarantee you her time in the WNBA, she ain't gonna win now. Huh? Angel Reese, champion, coming in, attractive sister, okay, whether you agree with her current behavior or not. And the only thing Angel Reese is missing is from the basketball court, and I wish the sister would start focusing more on her game. If Angel Reese start dunking, oh, it's game over, man. It's over with. Don't let her fuck around and win a chance. Look, I'm going to say it right now, and I'm not a WNBA fan like that, but I'm just stating the fact. If Angel Reese go and win a championship before Caitlin Clark, I don't want to hear no more talk about that strong-faced motherfucker until she start doing what actually qualifies you to be great, which is win, okay? Win. If you're going to say you great, you need to have something to hold up and say, hey, look, here I am. This is what I've accomplished, huh? So I said that to say this, man. You got these Sambos that's always critiquing our people, man. They got, so much love for the white folks kissing all this ass, and they mediocre at best, man. Again, Oshay, you should have provided some proof of all this tragic behavior, this egregious behavior that Shedeur has engaged in. You can't do it, though. You're just going off what white people say. Let's let this fool continue here.
For an example, the Detroit Lions have an African-American general manager who went to a black college, North Carolina A&T, by the name of Brad Holmes. Want to know what? Brad Holmes didn't draft him either, okay? We have current NFL head coaches in the league right now.
Okay, naming out the black men that didn't draft him. Oshay, you act like the league is not controlled by white team owners that like, hey, Negro, you better not draft him. Is what I'm saying far-fetched? Do any of y'all think that if them white team owners told them coaches, hey, man, look, you got pass on him. The good old boys and got in the room and decided, hey, we ain't hiring that little nigger. We're going to make sure he goes to leave field 6th round, get back at his daddy. Wanted to get his daddy, but we couldn't do it because he was an asset to us and didn't have any players that was on his caliber at the time. So we're going to get his little black ass son. Now, you want to keep this job, boy? Huh? You like it, don't you? We really want to put your black ass here, but people aren't trying to call us racist, so we got to have a few you little darkies in some positions, but it's got to be the ones of you that obedient now. We ain't putting you in them positions if you're not going to do what we told there and make sure that when I walk by, you look down at the ground because I like the plantation days. I like that good old boy feel. Like the good old days my granddad, my clan sisters told me about. You ain't going to be that? All right, we'll strip you out now because there's plenty of coons that would love to step in your position, boy. Now listen, we done decided Shedeur Sanders ain't going to go nowhere near close to top draft pick. That's what it's going to be. All right, now get your black ass out there and do what white daddy told. See, that's what it is with him. Oshay don't have sense enough to realize that if they give marching orders to these Negroes with these jobs, they're going to do what they told. Now, you know what would be a revolutionary act? If they gave them the marching orders and those black coaches said, hey, man, nope, I'm going to call a press conference. We're going to stand together. These white team owners told us not to draft this kid, and because of that, I don't want this job no more. I'm not going to be a part of this. I would love to see some type of revolutionary action like that in the NFL and the NBA because, see, let's be clear. And when you go back to the time period of when the NFL and the NBA was mostly white players, that was boring. Even white people didn't want to see that. They didn't start making money until they started letting black people come to the league. If you take us out the equation of anything in America, the flavor is gone. And the money is too. Let's let it continue.
Now, Mike Tomlin said no. Todd Bowles said no. D'Amico Ryan said no. Raheem Morris said no. Aaron Glenn said no. So it wasn't that 5 African-American head coaches said no.
Do them 5 African-American coaches, like you said, sign their own paychecks? Who them African-American coaches bosses, huh? Oh, you ain't gonna talk about that part, huh? But see, he'll tell you he's pro-black and he's so smart, huh? Boy, I tell you, boy, common sense ain't so common no more.
Wanna know who said yes? The black general manager, Andrew Berry, gave his ass a chance for the Cleveland Browns, and that's after he took Dylan Gabriel above him, okay?
And that was a decision that they made and told him to do that too. So it ain't like he did that from a magnanimous position either. He was told to do that.
So only a black man could put up with this. And he took a white guy ahead of him. So what's y'all excuse? Bottom line, in this world, you gotta do what you're told when you need the opportunity. You ain't always the opportunity. That's how some black men think. That somebody else gotta do something for you because somebody need to accept you as. Nobody gotta accept shit from your ass. Nothing. Don't nobody.
Negroes that talk like this will never challenge anything that's systematic racism or unfair towards our people. Now, let's be clear. You do have to earn everything you get in this life. Yes. The only thing those of us that look at this situation that happened with Shedeur Sanders ask for is don't go and show preferential treatment to other people and then not the same to us. Let it be the same standard across the board. That's all we ask for is equality. We don't ask for a leg up or anything. All we ask for is a level playing field. But we've never seen the white supremacists do that in any facet of society. Those of us with sense that understand our history in this country, we know that, okay? So now, all of this, because they've been had this recurring theme where people that are on the black grassroots are saying, hey, give us handouts or give us special treatment. None of us have ever advocated for that over the years. Not myself or anybody else that you know or have seen me in their spaces or have worked with them offline or what have you. But that's not what we preach over here in these spaces, okay? What we ask for is equality. That's what we ask for. And when we see our people not being treated fairly to a standard of equality, we're going to call that shit out, as we should. But see, you have to have actual courage and understanding of the system of white supremacy and racism to be able to do that. And Oshay has neither. He doesn't. He's displaying that right here with his own rhetoric, okay? This is him. I didn't put his voice and make him say anything. This is all him. Y'all know me. I don't make people say things they didn't say. This is him. He's explaining to you why he wants to be a good little Yassa boss. We sick boss. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is sad, man. This is sad.
Nobody owe you nothing. You are not special, bruh. None of us are. You better do as you are told. And if you...
Boy, do y'all hear him, boy? Look, he's starting to make me think that he might be, you know, the son of Stephen from the... You do as you are told. Do as you are. Look, Tanisha Murdoch, you do as you are told. Sister Sturzan, you do as you are told. Black Truth United, you do as you are told. Michael Williams, you do as you are told. Everybody in here, you do as you are told. Look, man, Oshay, you kind of, because I've said this before, he don't like me for this. The dude kind of sound like a little Sambo version of Mickey Mouse when he talked to me. I'm just saying, man, he do. He sound like a little Sambo version of Mickey Mouse when he talk. You do as you are told. Man, come on, bro. What the fuck is this, man? It's insanity, y'all. I mean, I got to call. Y'all know me, man. Look, I'm trying not to clown, but come on, man. He earned this anyway. I'm going to let him finish up here. Let's let it continue.
You don't want to do that in somebody else's business. I don't care what color you are. Start your own damn business. Start your own business. Then you can do what you want to do. Let me tell you what my granddad used to tell me. And my mom was the same way. She told me, son, if you're going to live in this house, it's a few things you're going to do. You're going to work, you're going to go to school. And if you ain't working, you're going to church. If you don't like that, You ain't gotta, you ain't gotta do it, but you gotta get out of my house, okay? You can't stay here. I stayed at my house because I wanted to go to medical school, family. I stayed there until I was literally 34 years old. You might laugh if you want, I got money now. I could not bring a woman in my house to spend the night that I was not married to. I don't know how much financial stuff I done did for my mom the last decade. I still can't do it. Wanna know why? It's her house. It's her rules. I'm 40.
I agree with you. You can't do whatever you want in somebody else's house, but this situation you trying to equate to Shadur Sanders is not that, Oshay. This ain't that at all, man. That was a bad analogy. That right there, non sequitur, okay, false equivalency, whatever you want to call it. It's not the same thing. Now, like I said, I agree. You can't do whatever you want to do in somebody else's house, but you trying to make the argument that Shadur Sanders was doing whatever he wanted. Because, I mean, think about it. To go to show you how what he's saying makes no sense. This is why he didn't provide any proof to show you this behavior that he was talking about. If Shadur Sanders was this big of a problem, nobody would have drafted. They'll be like, oh my God, I don't want this nigga over here at all. No, the reason that they drafted him lower was one, like I said, to stick it to his father, but they know, okay, the kid is exceptionally talented and we trying to humble him, but it's not like they don't see the value in him. So if they didn't see any value, or if he was just such a problem, they'll be like, nah, we can't even put him over here at all. No team, huh? You think the commissioner of the NFL and everything wouldn't have said, nah, we can't have him in here. He's not, he's not conducive to the image of the NFL. They would have said something like that, huh? If he was just this big and bad, much of a problem, like, oh my God, he's just so horrible. He's the worst thing more in the world. But now you just skip over all these other degenerate white players and you focus on this young man. Christian, don't curse, nothing. All this bad behavior he got, huh? Where's that at? Because see, here's how I know anybody like him is full of shit. Deion Sanders would check that boy if he was acting like that. He would. It's one thing to be confident and be confident in yourself, but if his boys were acting like that, he would check them because that would be an embarrassment on him. I told you, they don't like to talk to me for a reason, man. And see, as far as like his personal situation, you heard him say it. He stayed at his mama's house. He was 34, trying to get his medical degree. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, I salute that. All right. But he said, you can laugh at me all you want. I got money now. Yeah, you probably got money. I don't know what your financial situation is. Not my concern. But whether you do have money or you don't have money, one thing that money can't buy you is integrity. That much I do know. So let it continue.
And can't do that now. That's the respect. And a lot of black men forgot about respect. You want to do whatever you want to do. You don't own no NFL team, and your daddy can't save you. Some of y'all mamas have been saving y'all ass. Your whole life they've been saving you. Thinking you could just tell everybody what you want to tell everybody, and then when you come up short, you want to blame racism and white supremacy. Everything there is.
Listen to the vitriol that he said that you want to blame racism and white supremacy. Now, I want you to understand what's called a Freudian slip. Huh? I told y'all, I don't care what he tell you. I'm not a part of the black man's fitness. Yes, you are. You still hold the same coolness. He's not fooling me. Man, I might have to really go back in the crates and show y'all some of this dude Sambo's behavior. Huh? Mr. Pro-Black. Because, I mean, I know where all the bones are buried. All the little stuff he think he got. I know where all of it is. I just try to stay out of folks' business. But see, when you start cooning and buffooning like this and you're going to talk about I'm pro-black, okay, now you made it my business, okay? Because I'm not going to let you deceive my people. If nobody else tell the truth about it, I will. Oh, I definitely will. I'm not going to sit here and know something and then just let everybody be in the dark on it when it comes to things like this. Because see, here's why I said, you're not going to be a coon million and try to camouflage your way into these black grassroots spaces, because this is what delineation is all about. Don't think that delineation is just applying to tethers. No, it applies to these Sambos and coons amongst us that are of our lineage. See, the era of sabotage, because we didn't know how sabotage operated, that era is up. We see what allowing Sambos amongst us, no matter what their lineage is, what it costs our people. We're not having that no more. I don't care what enemies I have to make. I'm not going to sit here and have knowledge of something and I see it and not call it out for what it is. Let's let it continue.
That, but this ain't that. He gotta humble himself and know, yes, you cost yourself $30 million. You did it to yourself. Your daddy did it to yourself. Y'all all did it to yourself. Shut your ass up and go out there and do better next time. End of story. I'm from the old school. And
remember now, this is a pro-black. You shut yourself up. You did it to yourself. So the system didn't have nothing to do with it. You did it to yourself. Remember that analogy I gave y'all about if a white person punch you in your mouth and knock you on your ass, and they standing right there when you get up and you run around the corner and sock another black person, you hearing it right here. This is what that sound like. You did it to yourself. You did. Really? They did, so they did it to themselves. He's pro-black though now. Don't forget that. That's what he says.
those of you brothers over 40 and 50, and you know how life truly works, that's how it works. It's a young dude mistake. It's a YN mistake. He messed up.
YN? You hear this bullshit? You may well call him a thug. How the hell should Dewey Sanders a YN? He's never referred to himself as that. People don't call... Man, boy. This is supposed to be a pro-black, though. He's supposed to be pro-black. That's what he's saying. See, I told you, boy. And see, what I'm saying here, let me point out the sad thing about this. What I'm saying here is obvious. You don't need me to tell you this. If you watch his content and listen to it, you should know that he's not pro-black. We don't talk like this about our own people. Even when we correct our people, we do it in a certain way, and it's out of good faith and concern. But you can tell that he has neither at all. Let's let it continue.
His dad gassed him up. They overestimated what their son was, retiring his jersey and all that. Now you ain't that valuable in the real world. You know that now. Shut up and get the plan. That's all that's about. Ain't nobody, it's no hate. He messed up. Because if you want to blame them, blame all the general managers that knew he could play but don't want to deal with him. That's a price he had to pay. Don't use racism, because I already hit you with the facts of how many black quarterbacks already went in the NFL draft before him that went number one. Now, what that class is done, go cry in the comments.
Oh boy, he thought he was cooking. Oh boy, when Coons think they cooking, boy, and I debunked all that bullshit in short order. You saw that. Let's reiterate how I debunked it for those that just came in. One, all the black quarterbacks that he named do not have a famous retired father like Deion Sanders that the league want to stick it to try to humble through his child. Number two, Shador does not come from a dirt poor single mother household, a desperate family where he's looking for a white father figure. And number three, Shador Sanders is not somebody that's out here on drugs, got a criminal record, or none of that crap. And his father has let him know what to expect from the NFL, all the pitfalls. Okay, he's basically giving all his knowledge to his son. So he's not coming in naive. Don't you know when a white supremacist can't control you, now you're like, oh, okay, I can't manipulate you like everybody else. But all them black players, you really think that, you know what I'm saying, that's not what they love them for? And why? Because look, as long as white supremacy doesn't see you as a threat, oh yeah, they give you all kinds of rewards and trinkets. But be the person that they consider a threat to the system in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Oh, no, you have to be contained. So anyway, I'm going to leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen, and salute to everybody that's a Patreon member over here. We're going to definitely be cooking with hot fish grease. The Center's Review, as you see, I'm going to post that, pin it to the top of the page here shortly after this broadcast, because that's what I do. For those that are new here to Patreon, any upcoming broadcast, I'll make sure it's pinned to the top of the page. And all you have to do is just, if you're a member of the tier, whichever broadcast or tiers that broadcast is going to be in, you'll be able to join us. Usually we air live around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It just depends on if something happens, we'll go on later. And that's something I'm going to take a vote on too, because I realize I have people over here from different regions and demographics. Do y'all like the 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time, or do you guys want me to move the broadcast time back? You know what I'm saying? For those of you that know, telling what professions you in or what have you, I want to give y'all a vote on it. I'll probably put a poll up on that, and y'all let me know, should we change the broadcast time over here, or should we leave it the same? You all let me know, okay? But we definitely going to be doing that Center's Review on the 13th, okay? So I think I made my point here tonight about the Coon Million, Oshay Duke Jackson. Take the time to go through this as need be, and you will see Exactly what I'm talking about why that's a problem when people are running around here talking about they pro-black, but their rhetoric and their actions don't match up to it. With that said, I'm going to leave it right there. Salute to you, Black first, and I will see you all in future content.